chased validation, now I validate myself. Building inner strength, putting doubt up on the shelf. No more unnecessary drama, no more wasted time. Climbing higher constantly, making my own climb. Standing on higher ground, where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds. Raising the bar, breaking ground. My network is my net worth. Choose your company wise. Surround yourself with eagles, not with sheep in disguise. Every interaction is a reflection of my brand. Quality over quantity, that's my personal command. Standing on higher ground, where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds. Raising the bar, breaking ground. Whoa. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision. Cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield. To mediocrity and chaos, I will never yield. I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield. To mediocrity and chaos, I will never yield. Standing on higher ground, where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds. Raising the bar, breaking ground. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision. Cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield. To mediocrity and chaos, I will never yield.
How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to This and That. I'm your host, Xander, where we're talking about this, that, and everything in between. I greatly appreciate you guys coming to tonight's Wednesday night. I told y'all we were going to be talking about Nepal and all the wonders that Nepal has. Hidden gem amongst all of the many countries that have awesome investment opportunities as well as reasonable and affordable living. We're going to be talking about ways where we can live in the life of luxury in Nepal. Special shout out to Nepal. We had a couple fans that came to the show representing Nepal. So I said, well, we'll do a show about Nepal. We said, looks like we got to do it. We got to do another one on Thailand. So I'm going to be scheduling Thailand for next week, Wednesday. We're going to be doing something about Thailand. If I can do at least one country a month, I can cover 52 countries a year, and we'll just keep going until we cover them all. And some of them we're going to cover quite a few times. Make sure that you like and subscribe. Also, come to understand that we're going to be at least once a week on Mondays talking about the progress that's being made by the Trump administration and any changes that's happening in a local government. We're going to be talking about business and finance Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, how the decisions and changes that are being made in local government is going to impact our ability to make, save, and invest money. We are also going to be talking about how the executive orders will change the economy's structure with the implications of inflation and other such. So just keep in mind that we are live 7 nights a week. We usually tee off at around about 10:30, but we started a little bit late today. We usually start a little bit late. We're still juggling with this internet situation. I got to tell you that I added a internet line to the business. They changed my internet from unlimited internet to 100 gigs. I had to call them back. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I'll spend almost 400, 500 gigs a month, and you dropped me down from unlimited to 100 because I added another line. Like, what would you do that for? Somebody pushed the wrong button somewhere. I don't know, but it took me some time. I had to get everything situated, and I had to get it all situated before we came in today. They didn't get, the internet was moving slow, couldn't get the documents together. It was terrible, bro. But I told them, hey, I appreciate you trying, because we got some people in some places where they subcontracted in other places, and when they do, they don't always have the training that we have here in America. So I don't hold them accountable for that. I just hold them accountable for talking to me with respect when I come there, because the issue is an issue, but keep in mind, though, they take $100 off of my bill every time I call. So I can't really get too mad. I'm saving $1,200 a year on my phone bill, as long as they don't fix the problem. So I still have internet. I still have phone service, but I get a massive discount. Now, didn't I tell y'all on the show a couple weeks ago that there's ways that you can shave off expenses off of your budget, such as calling your phone company and negotiating reductions on your bill? I told y'all that. Y'all didn't listen to me. Now here I am. I call them once a month, because if you call them too often, they don't give you nothing. But I call them once a month after I done paid the bill, before automatic bill pay happens, because I have all of my automatic bill pay set up at the end of the month. Gives me all month to bring money in to cover all my bills. If I was going to have my money circulate through a credit card, I would have my credit card due in the middle of the month, so that the billing cycle rolls over before I start charging up all the stuff. Likewise, all the money that I'm getting throughout the month would end up paying off that credit card first before the billing cycle close out. So I would have 30 days to get money to pay the credit card. I would use the credit card. Well, if you look at a billing cycle from the 1st to the 30th, I would have bills due between the 20th and the 30th. In that area, I would have bills due. I would have the credit card due between the 10th and the 20th. And I would use the credit card to pay off all of the auto pay early. That way I don't have to worry about it. Then I would get money between the 20th and the 10th to pay all the bills that are due on the card by the 15th, so that by the 15th, the card's got a zero balance. Then on the 20th, the card starts paying off all the bills between the 20th and the 1st, so that I don't have any bills. Which technically, if you do it that way, it pushes your payments back 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. But because I have that revolving door factor, the bill is due on the 25th. I paid the bill on the 1st. Well, no, I paid the bill on the 10th because the billing cycle rolled over on the 10th. So somewhere between the 10th and the 11th, I covered the bill. And after I covered the bill, I call them on the 19th, which is today, and say, hey, show me a credit. Well, when they check my account's good standings, it's paid off for the month. They see that I'm not getting any services. They're going to credit my account $100. I make sure that I check in the middle of the month to see that they didn't fix the problem. They notate that I've called in. The system works itself. I save $100 on my phone bill every month. These are the things that I try to tell y'all when I be running the show. So as I told y'all before, we are live 7 nights a week. So we do manage to get in there Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We talk about social interactions and other such. This week, we're going to be talking about one of the fans came in earlier this week and was telling me that there's only 33% of women in family law, because we were talking about how the fathers are not getting their children, and because the fathers are not getting their children, the not because they're not getting their children, because the system is traditionally designed to give the children to the women. The fathers don't stand a chance of getting their children. And the hardest part about being in a courtroom when you're trying to claim your child, when you have the majority of the room is female individuals, you're not even judged evenly, because if you don't have a male lawyer, you're literally the only man in the room. And the guy was telling me, no, that's not the case, that there isn't all those women in a thing. And I'm like, well, you gotta look at it. That's just the truth. He said, wonder what death's like. I think it's just infinite darkness or infinite sleep. You know, that's a good statement. Let me tune into that in just a second, Lloyd. Don't go nowhere. Special shout out to Lloyd, the bartender, because we talk about this, that, and everything in between. But when I was talking about because I actually thought about that question before. So, but when we were talking about the quantity of people that were in the legal system, I did the research. So I do believe it's a Friday or Saturday this week. We're going to be talking about that, but cliff notes of it, I come to find out he was wrong. But the guy tried to troll the podcast and make it seem like I didn't know what I was talking about, because he wanted to tell me that there was only 33% of women in family law. So the majority of the judges would be men. And that's not the truth. The true fact is that there's 33% of women in state court in general. So out of almost 15,000 judges across the country, about 33% of them are women. But just like the women complain about the wage gap because they're making 25 cents an hour less than men, there isn't a wage gap. They're just choosing a certain industry that pays less money, whereas men choose the other industry that pays more money because they need more money. And that's where the gap comes in. Hospitality and humanities doesn't pay as much money as backbreaking labor in construction and real estate and other such. You can make $135,000 a year on an oil refinery, but you're going to make 20, 30, 40,000 a year as a teacher. So it doesn't matter how many degrees you got, unless you're working in a university, you're not making 55,000 unless you've worked there for 5 years. So, you know, I just got a piece of stuff together to show the guy, yeah, that's not the case. Because I actually found quite a few counties in Florida where 6 out of 8 judges were women. So as it is what it is, and it's not bad. It's just the fact that you're going to feel overwhelmed as single dads because you walk into a room, you're the only man there, and they are making excuses as to why you qualify to get your kid, but you still don't get your kid in situations where the child wasn't taken from you to begin with. That's the ones that we're talking about. We're not talking about the adults that made a mistake and then the state took the kids and now they got to earn their way back, and they're not succeeding with earning their way back. You made your bed, you lie in it. But when they're taking the kids from qualified parents and not allowing qualified parents to get their kids, we talked about that last year on the show. That's just horrible. Now, Lloyd was talking about what happens with death. Now, you've got 2 out of 3 probabilities, because infinite darkness, he says, so what's your opinion in my statement? Look, you and I are on the same page. Soon as I put a pin in that topic, your topic is the next one up. You've got 3 observations here, and you only mentioned 2 of them, because if you mention infinite darkness, you assume that you still exist, you're awake and coherent in order for you to recognize infinite darkness. Okay. Option 2 is infinite sleep. Infinite sleep implies that you still exist after death, and that you might go into some sort of dream state where you still exist. If you come off of the ideology of infinite sleep, the probability of piecing that together with other concepts like reincarnation all come into play. You also have the people who talk about reincarnation, where your consciousness stays active after you've passed over, and the source of your life comes out of you and goes into another being. Now, the one that nobody talks about, or at least they don't talk about it that much, is what about the probability that there is literally nothing after death, where it just stops. Like, that's it. Not darkness, because darkness means you got to see darkness. Not sleep. Like, legitimate, you ran out of quarters, the timer timed out, and before you could do anything else, somebody unplugged the machine. Like, it is done. Game over. What about that? Remy says, say hi to Jenna Tolles for me. So special shout out to Jenna Tolles. Special shout out to Remy Jeremy. First time on the show tonight. So that wasn't what we were coming for the show today. You guys came in. You know, I do a lot of updates and highlights on the show because we talk about this, that, and everything in between. Today we were supposed to be talking about how awesome Nepal is, a place where you can go and live, sleep, find you a good wife, and get you a lot of investment opportunities. But I also talk about side topics along the way as well, as long as they're reasonably appropriate. So one more time, special shout out to Jenna Tolles. Remy is giving out love, so special shout out for them. Make sure that you like and subscribe. Also, if you guys got the opportunity and the capabilities, you can always show the podcast some love, throw some special likes, special thumbs up, special emojis, special comments. You guys can throw in some gifts or just a random donation to help support the podcast, because it is not free. They make it seem like it is free. It is not free. The internet alone is $350 a month. That's what we were talking about earlier today. One of the reasons why the show don't always start on time is because the location I'm in, one of the local towers, is always under repair. So the connection is not good. And if the connection is not good, I'm not going to start the show, because I don't want to start the show and then it blank out and y'all are staring at a blank screen because I'm not there. The last time I was starting the show 2 hours earlier, and like 45 minutes into the show, fluctuations of the internet, it goes dark. I got to reset the whole computer and come back and hope that y'all are still there. So I just wait until after all that shenanigans stop, and then I start the show. But Lloyd says it's a scary thing to think of. Lloyd, it's only scary if you are in existence after the fact, because I'm gonna be honest with you, I love darkness, but if you were in an existence that was nothing, it's like having a blackout, like severe, absolute blackout. And then, you got to exist in that. There's no sound, there's no light. In that particular type of scenario, I think that even I would be bothered after a while. 6 months, I can do that. I can do that. Meditating, no problem. Staring at holding cell, I can just I got no problem with that, but like a couple years of no sight, no sound, no movement, no eating, like just complete. Yeah, I think I'd probably have some issues with that. But sleep, that's peaceful. If it's a nightmare, it might be a little bit more stressful, but sleep, that's peaceful. But and nothing, there's nothing to be scared about with nothing. This ain't like the death in 2025 is not going to be like death in 1950, because death in 1950 is like when the VCR tape stopped and it rewind to the beginning. And if you have the replay option set up, that mug start over. Yeah, if you died back in the 50s, that might have been reincarnated, because that nightmare is going to play again. But here in 2025, nah, I don't see that happening. There isn't an auto replay button. It just stops. Matter of fact, modern times, they have very few buttons. It's all voice activated. So when there's no sound and everything stops, you stop. So to me, I just live life to the fullest, to the best of my ability. I'm more concerned about it ending early than what I would be concerned about what happens after it ends. I want to be 70, 80 years old. I want to be 84, 85 years old, like Donald Trump and Joe Biden. I want to be a multi-millionaire, if not a billionaire, by the time I'm 70 years old. I got quite a few years ahead of me, so I could turn things around and I could cross over that millionaire status in the next 3 to 5 years with all of the business and investment strategies that we talk about on the podcast from day to day. got to make money in order to invest money so that your investments can make money, so that you have enough money to have more money than you need from your investments so that you don't have to work. But I'm living the plan. It's not the dream. I'm living the plan. You got to have a 20-year plan at any age. It doesn't matter if you're 30, 40, 50. It doesn't matter what your age is. If you set a 20-year plan and you stick to that 20-year plan, yeah, there's going to be things that you didn't expect to happen. That's going to happen. You're going to have some hiccups along the way. You're going to have some discontent along the way. You're going to have some disappointment along the way. That's fine. You have to adapt to that and keep moving. And that's one of the reasons why at least once a week we tell you guys other places you can go and put your money, as well as other places you can go to live and save you some money, because there's a lot of countries that won't tax you for depositing money into your bank account every month where you're making money overseas. Digital nomads, because everything is going digital. Currency is going digital. Sales is going digital in e-commerce, and employment is going digital. If you can work off your laptop or your cell phone, you can have an American-based company with American-based bank accounts, and you can work from anywhere in the world as long as your job doesn't interfere with your ability to travel. Long as you have access to phone service, to internet service, to utilize the devices that you're trying to communicate with your clientele, whether you're trying to communicate with your boss with, you can work from anywhere in the world. And with that knowledge, you would be able to take time to build yourself up, build your finances up. And if you're making $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month, and that's chump change. That's chump change. Because California, you got to be making like $7,000 and $10,000 a month. But if you're making $3,000, $4,000 a month, and you go to a country that only has $1,000 standard of living, $1,500 if you balling, $2,000 if you wasteful, you could live the life of Riley in a country that costs 30% of the price of the United States, making US style money with offshore banking. All you got to do is just hook up the correct direct deposit. And if you use financial institute, fintech, because we talked about financial technology, but if you use financial institutions that are online, you can have your paycheck go to an online account that is going to transfer the money to an offshore bank account and not charge you the wire transfer fee. ACH transactions are free, no matter how much they are. Yeah, if it's a high enough value, like $9,000, $10,000, yeah, the IRS will get a notice that you're moving money out of an account that's being deposited into that account. But ain't nobody gonna freeze that account. And if they do, if you listen to what I told you about the 8,000 plus bank accounts across this country, if the bank account that's getting direct deposit is not the bank account that's wiring the money overseas, if they freeze the bank account that's wiring money overseas, you could just move the money to a different bank account. I keep telling y'all that. Grassroots your money. That way you're not dependent on any one scenario, because if they freeze your bank account, you can do two things. One, you can close down that bank account, get your money back. And two, open up another bank account somewhere else with over 8,000 financial institutions. And three, while you're waiting on all that stuff to happen, your money is being redirected somewhere else. So you're not going to keep having all of your direct deposits go into a frozen bank account. You're just going to cut that bank account loose. First time to give you some shit. But most banks are going to love you funneling thousands upon thousands of dollars into their bank. So it's all about, being responsible about your shit. So today we're supposed to be talking about the digging into the ins and outs of Nepal. So I want you guys to indulge me in this challenge that we're going to be dealing with today, because Nepal was one of them hidden jewels. I didn't even see this one. We're going to see if some of the breathtaking spots that most tourists miss in Nepal are worth going to. Now, check this out. Nepal is a land of rich culture and heritage, and its breathtaking landscapes, which offers unique blends of opportunities for those seeking high profit investments, affordable luxury living, and family-oriented society, which is something that you guys are going to love because we don't get none of that here in America. So I'm about to talk to y'all about it. Now, I understand that the home of the free, and in order for you to have freedom, you have to have no security. In order for you to have security, you have to have no freedom. And Benjamin Franklin said that if you have to sacrifice your civil liberties for security, then you don't deserve your civil liberties or your security. How you doing, Max Opposer? Special shout out to Max Opposer and his dad. Joke, I remember. How's your dad doing, Max? As he gets back to me on that, we're going to nestle into the heart of South Asia. Nepal is a hidden gem that often is looked over by travelers, but it's incredibly sound. This country has so much more to offer than just stunning landscape, rich culture, and endless adventure opportunities. So you can Indiana Jones your way out there, get your behind lost. But just note, from the majestic Himalayas, we see the Himalayan mountains. We don't even know what to do with that. That's just nice to see on TV, but you can go out there and go and hike on these. But going from the Himalayan mountains to the vibrant streets of Kathmandu, Nepal is a treasure trove of surprises waiting to be uncovered. Max, I just bought a property in Egypt from Eye of Ra, while Libyan, what is that? LeBron gooded the while Epstein had a all right. So apparently he's having a fun day today, but picking up property. Egypt is a good country to talk about. I have not talked about Egypt yet. And I know Egypt has a lot of sand. That's what everybody knows Egypt for, is all the deserts. But Egypt is a good place to talk about because they have a lot of history back there in Egypt. So I might actually add that on, because I know I was supposed to be talking about Thailand coming soon again, and then I got to talk about Egypt. So I'm gonna make sure I throw Egypt in there, because real estate in Egypt is not as easily to acquire as other places. Now, one of the biggest misconceptions about Nepal is that it's only trekking destinations. So while it's true that Nepal is home to some of the most incredible treks in the world, there's so much more to this country than just hiking boots and mountain trails. In fact, Nepal has a rich culture heritage and fascinating history, and a plethora of hidden wonders that are just waiting to be discovered. But before we dive into all that, we're looking at some of the amazing things that Nepal has to offer. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. I want to talk to you guys about why it's so important to look beyond surface levels. You see, most tourists flock to Nepal with a preconceived notion of what they want to experience. And the Everest base camp trek, the Annapurna circuit, or a quick visit to the Boundahath Stupid, yeah, that's how it's pronounced. Boundhanath Stupa. You're going to some of these places. By doing this, you miss out on the real essence of Nepal, because that's only like 3 or 4 different locations, specific tourist attractions. You don't see the true city or society when you're only going to the tourist attractions. Like, the slums could be right next to the tourist attractions, because guess who works in the tourist attractions? The poor people. You never see tourist attractions near wealthy individuals, unless you're in California, because just about everybody got to have money to be in California. But the poorest of the rich in California live closer to all the noise and work near their homes, where the wealthier will travel 4 hours to get to work, because they ain't got to be to work first thing in the morning. They get there when they get there. So you definitely only going to a limited number of places in Nepal will cause you to miss out on its people, its culture, and all the hidden wonders. And that's exactly what I wanted to change. So I want to take you guys on a journey that will show you the real Nepal. A Nepal that's full of surprises, full of charm, and full of heart. So let's start by exploring some of the lesser known attractions in Nepal. So just a short drive from Kathmandu lies an ancient city of Bhaktapur, a treasure trove of Nepalese architecture, art, and culture. So the city is filled with stunning temples, pottery shops, and local markets that are just begging to be explored. Then, of course, there's Pokhara, a lakeside town that's surrounded by towering mountains and offers some of the most breathtaking scenery in the country. He says, "I can't build," screamed George Flowberry as he got full of boxed by a fortnight police. Bro, I'm going to be real with you. Y'all spend too much time playing Fortnite. Y'all need to upgrade y'all console, clear y'all data space, like legit delete everything, and get ready for some GTA 6. That's a real man's game. That's what y'all need to do. Y'all over here building stuff with Fortnite. If you've never experienced chaos mode in Vice City, you ain't experienced nothing. Matter of fact, the closest thing to chaos mode in Vice City is the turf wars in San Andreas, when you don't conquer any of the territories before the last mission. That is a game. You don't get stuff like that. Special shout out to GTA 6 and Rockstar. A special shout out to PlayStation and Xbox because the Wii doesn't carry GTA. Special shout out to Fireball. He's in here for the first time tonight. It's been a while since you've been here, buddy. Can you buy a property in Egypt without phantom taxes? No, you can't buy a property anywhere without paying local taxes. Max was just talking about how he bought property in Egypt from the Eye of Ra with LeBron James. So I don't know why LeBron is buying buying anything with you. Shoot, he gonna sign his name on it. It's gonna be the Pyramid of Bronze. The most overrated pyramid. Undervalued. I just so you hurt yourself. Oh, well, you should have seen Kurt Angle when he was talking to Rey Mysterio. But if you're looking for truly unique experiences, this is something you guys got to do. You guys got to visit Lambani. I think I said that right. Correct me if I didn't. Lambani. Try that. It's the birthplace of the Lord Buddha, for those of you that have any religion. So the Buddha guy, the big heavy set dude with the big head that's almost as big as his gut, with the big ears that's almost as big as his head, but he looks like a gigantic miniature baby statue. That guy. He said, "Do you know Max the Poser?" Do I know Max the Poser? Yeah, I know Max the Poser. Max the Poser actually came through here and threw almost $40 at the podcast one night while we were talking about who was that skater? Not Tony Hawk, because Tony Hawk's better than him. Was it Jesse, Joey, Josh? I can't remember his name. But they tend to come in and clown around from time to time, but eventually they get serious because, we're going to be here for several hours. They get tired. So if you're not interested in their dialogue, you can always overlook it. I will only entertain the reasonably appropriate comments, and if they get too inappropriate, I will definitely take some serious actions. But they're aware. They maintain recent discretionary banter is the best way to put it. It's like being at a live discussion and somebody heckles the host. Pretty much the same. It's fine. we get at least 2 or 3 of them a day, every day of the week, that somebody's got something to say. But like I said before, as long as it's reasonably appropriate, I'm not going to let it deter us from us learning some new things, coming across some new stuff, and making sure that we make it make sense before we walk out of the door. So one of the sacred sites is filled with ancient ruins, monasteries, and a sense of peace that's hard to find anywhere else in the world. I mean, unless you're in solitary confinement. That's wild. Let her drink on the weekends. She has no kids, so mind your own business. What? Okay. Special shout out to Cash Bandit. I don't know what that was about. Special shout out to Ronnie. How you doing, Ronnie? Oh, you got to be careful with ninjas, because if you say ninja in the wrong place, the ninjas will get you. Ronnie's first time in here tonight. Special shout out to Fab Fest. Special first time on the show tonight. I really appreciate you guys coming to the show. Now let's get back to Nepal, because we're going to be talking about the local festivals after Buddha, after the peace and tranquility of Buddha. Now you got all the noise and it's going down. The ninja game is not, no, ain't no ninja game streamer. I know Crash Bandicoot, not Cash Bandit. So there are local festivals and vibrant markets and warm hospitality of Nepalese people, and all of which combine to create an experience that's truly one of a kind. Well, thank you very much. I'm assuming that you're telling me that I'm awesome, because I can't translate that. So I'm going to assume that is telling me that I am awesome. I will keep up the good work. Special shout out to Rani Ki Dania. I really appreciate it. You're going to go from English to a language that I don't speak. You're going to have to translate that yourself. I don't even have Google Translator here on StreamYard. But one of the most breathtaking experiences I've been able to come across in Nepal was watching the sunrise over the Himalayas. Now, we all know that that's a beautiful sight to see. There's something magical about witnessing the dawn break over the highest mountains in the world. And it's an experience that most people will never forget. Do you like to shop at Adidas? No, I do not like to shop at Adidas, because Adidas it's a sneaker. It's overpriced. It's good, but it's overpriced. It's just like Nike. I could buy some dress shoes, dress sneakers that are cheaper than Adidas, that are cheaper than Nikes, that are cheaper than Jordans, and they'd be higher end. Like Oxfords make sneakers. So Aldi's, I don't like Aldi's either. Aldi's is not like Walmart, and I don't even really like Walmart, but I shop from Walmart because Walmart delivers, so I don't have to leave my house when it snows. And then, of course, there are the local. I already talked about the local festivals, so back to those local festivals. We've got the colors, the music, dancing, and sheer joy of it all. And it was like nothing that you would ever experience if you go out there. So we really got to go and talk about different places in the heart of Nepal, where the people, culture, and sense of community is paraded around, and every aspect of Nepalese life, where you guys get a better sense of wildness when you go there. It's a country that's all about sharing, caring, and looking out for one another. And if you're not from a country like that, you're not sure how it is to experience realizing that something needs to be done and somebody already took care of it for you. Like, that is a very awesome kind of culture to be in. Or in a situation when you're caught up and people voluntarily aid you without you having to beg for help. Or they try to take advantage of your situation and try to bill you for it, kind of thing. It's always good to be in a place where they look out for you. Oh yeah, Max, that was probably one of the best parts of GTA 5. But I mean, didn't you have to take out Trevor in order to get that building? So it's an experience that will stay with you for the rest of your life if you guys ever take the time to go. Now, one of the things that I wanted to talk about today, because not only is the culture amazing, I'm going to talk about the money real quick before we start talking about the family atmosphere. For those of you that stick around, make sure that you guys like and subscribe and hang out with me. Nepal's economy is poised for extreme growth in 2025, more so than people even realize, with an expected increase by 4.9% in the fiscal year of 2025 from the 3.9% from 2024. So going up an additional 4.9%, you're going up an extra 5.8% from 2023. So that is substantial. Growth like that for the GDP is substantial. This economy's expansion offers several promising investment opportunities across different sectors, and Nepal's unique nature and cultural attractions make tourism a prime investment target. So the country aims to attract 1.6 million international visitors in this 2025 year through various promotion programs. And we're going to try to cover a couple of them. He's going to ask me, am I married? Nah. If I was married, she'd be rubbing my shoulders right now. Back hurts. Now, let's start with the potential investments. They've got hotels and resorts. We all know that we can invest in real estates in every country of the world, but they have, particularly in high potential destinations like Annapurna and Limbina, they have really good resorts and like timeshares and hotels and stuff to that effect. So you guys could go there, buy you a 50 or 100 unit building, live in one of the rooms, and just rent the place out and hire a bunch of staff and make that life off of something just like that, especially if you're doing it in a tourist area. They have travel agencies and tour operators, which is a career choice. If you're trying to get that hustle on while you're traveling, you can be a part-time tour guide. You could just get certified to do tours, and while you're wandering around looking for stuff, you could take other people with you and get paid to take tours until you decide to leave the area. Restaurants and food services catering to the tourists is going to be something that a lot of us are going to be fascinated by in other countries, because it is expensive in America for the waiter or waitress to bring your food to the table from the kitchen. So you can only imagine if you've got people bringing it to the hotel or bringing it to the house, you know how much the delivery drivers are trying to get, because it's not just a tip, it's a survivor tax. When the delivery driver drops off food, you order food to go and you try to get a delivery to the house, and you're having issues with your delivery driver because they want a tip. They don't want to see $0 tip. If you spent $50, they're expecting to see a $5 or $10 tip at least, because $5 tip is 10%, but you're supposed to be doing closer to 20 to 25% because it's a survivor tax. Them people are getting paid half a minimum wage in whatever state they're in. In some states, minimum wage is $5 an hour. They could be making half of that. They could be making $2.75 or something like that, which isn't half of $5. It's half of $5.50, but $2.75. Because I'm thinking about how Louisiana was $5.50 for a long period of time, but $2.75 an hour plus tip. If you're not getting $10 a tip, $10 per delivery, you ain't making no money. But Nepal's abundant water resources present significant opportunities in hydropower sector. So you guys can invest in hydropower projects related or companies related to that. And you can capitalize on a 25-year agreement with Indy to purchase 10,000 megawatts of Nepalese electricity, which you can always turn it into a share system, like a community share system where you can then lease that shit out to the people nearby at a reduced rate in comparison to what you got from because if you're getting it on wholesale from the electric company, you can sell it for a premium on top of what you got it, but less than what they're charging, and you can make you some money on the back end selling electricity. And when you're dealing with hydro generated electricity, you got the windmills, you got the big wooden water wheel thing that's generating electricity, and you can make money for yourself where you don't have to do anything other than pay somebody else to maintenance the thing when it gets damaged. We're going to explore other opportunities in trilitary power. Now, trilateral power sharing agreement with India and Bangladesh, where Nepal's diverse argo climate conditions, goodness gracious, is offering advantages in various agriculture products. Why couldn't they just tell me agro? I'm just sitting over here looking at this like, wow. Anyway, getting into a diversified agricultural climate where, in addition to the alternative industrial power production that you can make, you would also be able to invest in buying, selling, and leasing renewable resources. And high value niche, he says, how much V-Bucks do you think would have to pay for I'm not too sure, because you would first have to find out how much taxes is being given in Egypt. You should be able to research that. You just ask the Google lady. Well, you might be able to afford maybe 200 or 300 V-Bucks, but I mean, you could always throw me some V-Bucks. What about Ohio? California's still on fire. Just want to give you guys that up. They contained it, but it's still burning down. Ohio should be covered in snow. So a high value niche products such as spices, fruit juice, honey, and medical herbs, these medicinal herbs, in addition to tea, coffee, apples, and cut flowers productions, are processing plants. In addition to that, will be giving you guys the ability to make large quantities of money, build industries, and start like a family business in just about anything. And if you do it right, you can do hydroponics. And if you're using hydroponics with a portable greenhouse system that allows you to grow 10 times faster than growing out in a regular field, you could end up maximizing your space by using a portable hydroponic farm. It's almost like a giant shipping container that's turned into like a hydroponic farm, which is crazy. But if you do cocoa beans, that's where the Coke comes from for the Coca-Cola, which, even though it looks like they sell it in America, it's allegedly supposed to be illegal to buy and sell, but for some reason people are selling it in America. But if you buy cocoa seeds and mix it into your cannabis seeds and grow you some highly potent, look now, the sample study is going to turn purple if y'all know what I'm talking about. The IT sector presents plenty of opportunities as well. You're going to be outsourcing services, which is something that not too many people think about doing. You're going to be outsourcing services, particularly in web programming and software development and research for foreign campaigns. He says, do I work in the field? No, I haven't worked in the field since Massa set me free. And he's going to ask me, or at least did you used to? Yeah, I used to work in the field. Definitely worked in the field. You and I used to have the same skin complexion until I got out there in the field. I was putting in extra overtime. Just the tan don't fade. Now, investments in healthcare sector will be targeting medical tourism initiatives and improving healthcare infrastructures and services. So private sector's involvement in education is going to be growing, particularly in technical and vocational education and training, and establishing educational institutions to meet the increasing demand for skilled workers is also going to be something that you're going to deal with. And the financial sector offers investment potential in depository institution, contractual institutions, and investment institutions. You don't like juice? Well, the juice ain't around no more. Fintech solutions are going to cater to the growing financial service market, where Nepal Rasta Bank, Rastafari, so Nepal Rasta Bank has recently eased regulations on foreign investments in certain companies. So foreign investors no longer need NRB approval to invest shares of companies listed on the Nepal Stock Exchange. The stock exchange is going to be there. And investors must submit written information before importing foreign currency for investment. Now, the amendment also waives NRB approval for foreign investments in SIC industries and investments that don't reduce Nepal's shareholders ratio. Do I drink OJ Simpson in the morning with breakfast or a refreshing drink? It typically mix it with some gin, because gin is more potent than absolute vodka, because people like to run out and grab absolute vodka because of the name vodka. But truth is that vodka is like 47% by volume, and distilled Seagram's gin is 51% by volume. And that's the closest you're going to get on the market, next to Everclear, which is 99% vodka, or not vodka, but alcohol. And when you're looking at 99%, especially that banana 99, that is 99.99% alcohol. When you hit one of them bad boys, you're not doing too much after that. You can drink that one with like water, just liquor and water, because you got to stay hydrated. Now, investing in foreign stocks from Nepal, that's going to be the other direction, where Nepalese residents can invest in foreign stocks, particularly U.S. stocks, through the global trade platforms. And platforms like Interactive Brokers, TD Ameritrade, which I've rocked them for a while, Charles Schwab accepted Nepalese residents. These platforms are going to give you the ability to put your money where your money needs to make money for you. Now, the process involves opening an account and transferring funds from a Nepali bank account to the brokerage account. But the process, even though the process takes a little bit, it does. You caught me off guard, Usman. Special shout out to Usman Hussan. He said, this man being informative and dripped out with sunglasses and a tie. Yes, sir. I come to the show 7 nights a week. I'm always dressed casual or suit and tie. I more often than not carry a tie, somewhat match the outfit to the tie. But it's always an informative podcast where you're going to learn stuff, because it's common knowledge. But if you didn't know that you didn't know that, you don't know what to ask. So if I throw it out there that there's other places that you can go and do things and make other different decisions that you can invest in, so that you can have more options to think about, it gives you the ability to ask yourself, why have I not done that before? Because when I start getting into the standard of living in Nepal, and we start talking about how rent in Nepal is cheaper than most people's car note and car insurance, you're going to be asking yourself, well, why the hell have I not gone to Nepal yet? You know, just think about how much you pay for your car insurance per month, and think about how that is rent for housing facilities in places like Nepal, Ecuador, not Colombia. It was Cambodia. That was the other place that the lady came in and talked to me about. It says, do you know who Mia Crack Khalifo is? I'm not sure who Crack is. Is that somebody that Mia smoked? And is Mia and Khalifa the same person? Because I know that there was a Where's Khalifa, or was it a Wiz Khalifa? But they're music artists, from what I understand. Now, remember, guys, there's limitations and considerations that you gotta think about. Foreign investors are still not allowed to invest directly in the Nepal Stock Exchange. The Nepal Stock Exchange has 244 listed companies as of August of 2024, with a market capitalization of approximately $36 billion. So investors should be aware of the potential market manipulation and fraud in the Nepal stocks, but you will be able to see, as highlighted, recent reports of shared price inflation in loss-making companies. Do you wish Joseph Stallings came back to life and collab with you on a podcast? Would Joseph Stallings? No, but you know who I think would have been really good to collab with me on a podcast, to be real with you, is the people who made the Black Wall Street. Because when you think about how an entire group of minorities was able to build themselves up during the era of segregation and oppression, they were able to build themselves up to be wealthy, generational wealth. And now, in current society, the average American, regardless of their race, does not have that knowledge to make themselves wealthy, which is why we all work for somebody else. Most of us don't have the dreams or ambitions to go and work for ourselves because it's too much work to start up your business. It's too much work to run the business by yourself until you can afford to pay people to do the work for you or do the work with you, because there's more work than you have people. But even if you're the highest paid employee, you still got to show up for work every day. So when do you have time to enjoy the money that you made when you go to work? People don't think about that. Do I wish Adolf Hitler collabed with your collab? Well, I mean, he had a pretty strong message. If you buy that kind of stuff, because I would have been like, man, that's too much trouble. You got to kick in somebody, though. You got to find them. You got to drag people away. You got to house them. You got to feed them. You got to clothe them. Then you put them into this one gigantic metal room and take all the oxygen out of the room. Now you're carrying a few hundred bodies to a hole that you got to dig. Come on, man. I'm trying to figure out why. Either way, foreign investments in Nepal is governed by the Foreign Investment and Technology Transfer Act and the Industrial Enterprise Act, where foreign investors can own up to 100% equity shares in many sectors, with some exceptions for cottage and small industries. And cottage is like your house, but small industries like small business owners. Do I know who Lana Rhodes? Yeah, from the WWE. What about her? The WWE is live on Netflix Mondays, but you can watch the replay after Monday, after the show goes off the air, which is another reason why we don't always start the show on time on Monday. Well, you're talking about Lana Rhodes, the same Lana Rhodes that was with Triple H and Stephanie McMahon and Linda McMahon in that Congress meeting that they had this past month. Look it up. I still got like 45 pages of information on Look, investors should conduct thorough research and understand the risks involved before investing in either Nepal or foreign stocks, given the validity, because this is a very volatile nature of stock market and the specific challenges Nepal is facing with their financial landscape, you want to make sure that you pay a little bit of attention. But Nepal offers a range of incentives and attract foreign investment opportunities that can promote economic growth for them, but it's also going to put a little bit of money in your pocket. He says, I'm not a black man, but I find it fascinating and admirable how African Americans went from slaves to teaching themselves how to read amongst their each other. But that was back in the day. I appreciate that. No, I'm not looking it up. As we look up something stupid. Do I know who? No, I don't know who Violet Myers is, but I know that if you invest in the Myers Industries, which is a plastic stock that's doing really good right now, you would be able to beat the curve, since Donald Trump just said last week that he was doing away with paper straws and he was going to invest in plastic straws, which is going to boost plastic industry, because since he did that as an executive order, all government agencies are going to throw away their paper stuff, go and buy a bunch of plastic stuff, which means that in the short term, there's going to be a big boom of plastic. But what Usman is talking about is, yes, back in the day, it used to be education that was passed down from generation to generation. We do not have education being passed down for free now from generation to generation. If you don't pay a four-year institution $200,000, you are not getting as much knowledge as you thought you was going to get. Now, the truth is that we should be able to, a lot of the stuff that we can get from our homeboys, a lot of stuff that we should get from our moms, our dads, our grandparents, a lot of stuff that we should be able to get finding a mentor in local school. We should be able to get that knowledge and then find somebody that older gentleman looking to hang up the towel and have him do a mentorship to you, where you can run his company for a reasonable period of wages and time and earn the right to take over the ownership of his company, where he would be the silent partner and you would be the primary shareholder, but you would be running it like a franchise. The bottom 99% does not have a good old boys club or a mentorship, apprenticeship scenario where the last generation teaches the next generation how to be successful. But back when they had Black Wall Street, there was a whole society of people here in America that was teaching each other how to legally make currency. I mean, until the Klan came through and burnt it to the ground. But the fact is that they were successful. They were millionaires, billionaires back in the day when 1,000 was a lot of money. And now we're all so hell bent on doing that next TikTok video that they ain't even trying to make money. One of the Costco guys eat chicken bake. No, not one of those guys. So the tax incentives in Nepal, income tax exemptions or reductions for specific industries and periods exist in Nepal. You're going to reduce tax rates for certain sectors and tax holidays for qualified businesses, which means they're not even going to tax you. These are certain like gaps in taxation. They have deductions and allowances for specific expenses or investments, accelerated depreciation rates for certain assets or industries, which is fantastic for you because accelerated depreciation rates means that they're going to give you more tax credits on that particular property sooner, which means that while it's technically not going to be worth nothing on the books, it's could still maintain its value, because a car that's not worth anything based on taxes, it could still be worth $20, $30, $50, $75, $100,000. Look at those VW Beetles from 65 that are worth like $60,000 right now in 2024, 2025. That's pretty crazy. Now they have some cash subsidies for specific projects and industries and grants to offset initial investment costs and reduced interest rates on bank loans and priority sectors. So that's going to be a whole new area that we can get into, because if you got enough money to get by, but you can get by over there with less effort, tap into the sources. They have customs and trades benefits here, but the custom trades are a little bit tough to deal with because custom duty exemptions on import equipment and raw materials aid you guys in saving a little bit of money on your overhead. You ask me, do I miss the cotton field? That's a good question. No. I actually used to hate having to pick cotton out of aspirin bottles. But who you think put the cotton in the aspirin bottle? So it is crazy. Usman, monthly car payments in America are insane. It's like another mortgage. Okay, segue. We're going to talk about car insurance real quick because, like I told you before, the cost of property renting in Nepal is cheaper than the cost of car insurance in America. Some people's car insurance is charging them $200 to $300 a month. If you've got good driving records, you've got some very, very, very cheap, dirt cheap car insurances that will not tax you. Well, you won't get penalized by law, but they're not going to cover you in a crash. Those are going to be the $80 or $65 car insurances, the basic liability kind of situation with no uninsured motorists. Most car companies where uninsured motorist is guaranteed for you is going to be charging you $300 a month for it. But in all fairness, since insurance only makes money when they're receiving money from the company, from the customer, they're not making money when they're doing claims for the customer. The fact is that if your insurance is charging you extra money per month, they're guaranteed to replace your car in a crash. And that's not something that people actually pay attention to. Either way, you're looking at around $250 to $300, $240 for car insurance on an economy size car that's not designed to be a sports car, that has all kinds of safety features on it so that they don't want to come and take it. But then you have the car insurance for the bad driver, the DUI, the multiple crashes, insurance claims, all this other stuff. That person is paying closer to $600 a month. And that is a lot on the East Coast, where it's like upward of $500 to $800 a month on the cheap side of California. So yeah, it's a lot of money for just the car insurance. And then they give you a discount by bundling all of these properties together so that you ain't got to pay but one person a month for any type of insurance. Do I like Johnny? I haven't seen Johnny Sims. He said, insurance is one thing. The real killer is interest in the long term. Bro, they break down the payments on purpose. They're charging you a transaction fee every month. And then just as sure as you'd have made your last payment, now you got to renew. And you got to put down 40% of the total value on your first payment, which is larger than the rest of the payments, so that you can go back down to your $200 a month. Y'all got to be careful. Have you bought property in Egypt? I have not bought property in Egypt yet, but we're getting there. They got VAT exemptions on certain goods and services and zero-rated VATs for exports. You have regulatory incentives that not too many people notice. They have streamlined approval processes for investments up to $5 million NPR, which is approximately 37.6 million US dollars, through an automatic route. So you just ask for some money and they send it to you, depending on circumstances. He says, what do Americans receive from government for paying such high taxes? One, taxes is voluntary, but it's also considered mandatory that you do not commit fraud with your taxes. So while you don't necessarily have to quote unquote pay taxes, it is standard operating procedure for W-2 employees to have taxes taken out of their paychecks. You can be audited up to 6 years after you filed a tax return, but if you didn't file a tax return, they don't necessarily have a tax return to audit. Now, that doesn't change the fact that because parties notify the IRS that they collected money on your behalf and it's supposed to be sent to the U.S. government. Now, here's a kicker. The U.S. government, I haven't answered your question yet, but the U.S. government would prefer to not have you file your taxes and keep your tax return money than for you to file the taxes and give them or them give you money. So the truth is that you would see a lot of less money coming out of your pocket if they were generating revenue somewhere else, which is the reason why the sovereign wealth fund from Donald Trump is supposed to be giving the government more of their own capital to spend. Now, special shout out to Dunn, because he was trying to answer that question faster than I was answering that question. He's got roads, hospitals, fire departments, schools, etc. You've got judges, public defenders. You've got a lot of things that they pay for. But that's not for the taxes on the insurance that you're paying for. That's just the taxes that. So the government programs, which is the reason why Doge is auditing the U.S. government right now. The government programs are spending too much money and not providing enough resources. We've covered this on the show week to week every Monday since the beginning of January. But Doge is finding billions of dollars that were not utilized correctly. And that's the reason why the services that are provided from the government sucks, is because money is coming up missing and they don't have enough money to do the work that they were assigned to do with the budget that they were given, because large chunks of money disappeared and nobody goes to look for it. So how much of our taxpayer dollars goes towards the roads and all this other such? Not as much as you would like, especially when they found $2 billion that was allocated to HUD that just disappeared. They found several $1 million, $100 million in several other places right before they found the $2 billion, which is unreal. You got podcasters putting out false information talking about the U.S. government found money and they're sending everybody a check. They're going to send everybody a stimulus check. No, they're not. They're not giving you shit. They're just going to take the money that they found and reallocate it to something else so that they don't have to take money from somewhere else and put money there. So if you've got 4 programs and you got to cut one because you don't have enough funding, you don't want to cut your favorite one. Now you're going to take this $2 billion and move it towards the one you don't like so that you can keep that one going without having to take money from what you want to take care of, because they still want the military. They still want to build that Iron Dome of America. They still want to put the wall up in front of Mexico. They're drafting all of the reserve troops so that they can go and fight the border. There's just so many different things that's going on right now that we could be paying for a lot of stuff, but we could be not paying for a lot of stuff too. It's been neoliberalism since Nixon, but Nixon was like the last person to dive onto taxing the rich 50%. And since then, ain't nobody really trying to do it. All the presidents are saving money for the rich. If you're not middle class, upper middle class specifically, where you're making over $168,000, they ain't got no respect for you. They are not doing anything for you. That's why they're getting rid of second-tier student loans. That's why they privatize healthcare scenarios. That's why they're shifting the responsibility from us getting a handout from the government to us having to find a way to make it and find a way to make money for us at the same time. And that's why on a day-to-day basis, on a week-to-week basis, we actually come to the show and we talk about the things that we could do to make money legally, invest money legally, turn profits legally, not have to work legally, and not have to stress, because going to work with somebody that's disrespecting you is hard. Going to work with somebody lazy is hard. Being disrespected because you got to go talk to the customer because somebody else made a mistake is hard. Showing up for work when half the people don't show up for work on time, but you always show up for work on time, but you're not going to get a raise. You got to do their work till they get here, or they now have an emergency. They came late, they leaving early. You got to do their side work before you leave. These are the things that we don't like dealing with. They calling you on your day off because of unreliable people work when you don't work. So now you got to come in because they're not coming to work and they don't come to work regularly. Like, these are the frustrations that we're not going to see change in. So he says politicians convince voters that the rich need more money. No, politicians did not convince voters that the rich needed more money. Politicians convinced poor people that poor people were going to have more discretionary funds because they're not going to tax the poor people on overtime. What they're doing is that they're giving you more money to waste, and you're going to waste that money instead of investing that money. After I just found 4 different real estate investment trusts that pay almost 18% interest, and they do an annual, a monthly dividend distribution. I found that a month and a half ago. Been tracking them for the last 5-6 weeks. I just told you guys yesterday's show was all about undervalued stocks. Now, y'all popped in, seen a brother in some shades with a suit and tie on, spitting out facts for an hour. But yesterday, our only thing was talking about was undervalued stocks, how to find them, what they look like, how to read the sheet to know what you're looking at to see that it's an undervalued stock, dividend payouts, the price of dividend payouts, understanding the average is 12 cents a share, no matter how much the buy-in rate is. I was talking about all that stuff yesterday, so that you can know how to make money for you, and the difference between non-dividend paying shares, where you would have to leverage the value of those shares towards a cash loan before you can utilize cash to buy stuff, versus dividend paying stocks that will drop money into your bank account without you having to move money around, but that's going to be taxable income. I talk about all those things on the podcast, but the government is not about helping you make money. Capitalism is about capitalizing on somebody else's fuck ups. Special shout out to who is that? Saksham. Play Valorant. I'm not playing no music right now. But special shout out to him. So no, they're not telling you that, oh, the rich people need more money. They're lying to you, saying, oh, we're going to adjust taxation. But notice that all taxation is for corporate accounts. Not taxation, tax deductions. All tax deductions are for corporate accounts. They are doing away with state tax deductions for W-2 employees. They're not doing away with state tax deductions for C corporations, because they are C corporations. They're you want to play video games? Well, Valorant. I don't have Valorant. What is Valorant? So since they're going to get their deductions, and then think about this, C corporations are capped at 20%, LLCs up to 35%, but C corporations get 10% donation credits towards their thing. So they really only have to have 10% overhead with 10% donations and the other 80% profit, and they're in the clear. So if they can draw up 25 or 30% of business expenses, they ain't really paying too much stuff as far as taxes to the country. But the rest of us are throwing down on it because we're paying between 20 and 30% taxes. Like me and my homeboy, you could talk to Joe Mastrano. He can help you guys with your taxes. But me and my homeboy was with Joe, and we worked this out and saved my boy almost $28,000 of taxes with tax deductions, because he's got a LLC and I got a C corporation. He's partnered with me in the LLC, but I got a C corporation. If it wasn't for them, he would have been cashing out to the U.S. government this year because of all the money he made. And he barely crossed over $100,000. And they were trying to take $28,000 out of him, which is 28% taxation. But the top 100%, the top 1% ain't paying that. He said, hold on, let me read what he said, because he said, and that's why all the time, and that's why all the tax, all the tax cuts for 50, and that's why all the tax cuts for 50 years. Yeah. They did all those tax cuts for 50 years. I believe that was good. That was a repeater. And he says, why tax levels need to go back to post-World War II levels. They're doing a two-tier. He said he was going to do a two-tier tax system where he was talking about doing 30% for anybody that makes over $168,900 and 15% for anybody who makes less than that, which also is what I was telling the people before when he says he's not charging you overtime taxes. He ain't charging you overtime taxes no way, because it's flat rate. If you make less than $168,000 a year, you're going to get taxed 15%, whether you're making $20 an hour for 40 hours a week or $20 an hour for 80 hours a week. The difference is the old system, it was tax brackets. If there was tax brackets, if your income, your hourly wage pushed you into a higher tax bracket, they would tax you on your overtime because you were making more money per hour in a new tax bracket. Then if you went back down to regular hours and they did your overall annual salary, they come to find out that they overtaxed your ass and they send you all that money back. But they spent your money before they gave you your money back, because they're holding on to your money all year so that they could give you your money back once a year. Donald Trump's like, why don't we invest this money somewhere before we give it back, which makes perfect sense, which is where the sovereign wealth fund is coming from. But if they go all the way back to the two-tier tax system, he's not doing you any favors like, oh, you got $0 in taxes on your overtime. No, you're going to get paid $40. You're going to get paid for your 40 hours a week. And then the other 20 hours a week of overtime is still going to get taxed the same way. You're just not going to see that extra, that halftime, because your regular time is going to be taxed, but that halftime that usually gets taxed again is not going to get taxed, because it's two-tier system. Your ass ain't made that much money between 40,000, getting the extra 20,000 because you're doing overtime. That's the only difference. He said, how much money went missing 2 weeks before 9/11? Money? Shit. You talking about money? How much gold, diamonds, real estate property, ownership documents came up missing right before 9/11? No, it didn't come up before 9/11. It came up missing after 9/11. Because people could claim it before 9/11 got destroyed, because them two buildings kept historical records of lineage. And once they destroyed the buildings, there was no information there. So if nobody can claim it, they could take it. You said, do I know Nepal? Today's whole show is about Nepal. We're going to be, well, it's about Nepal, this, that, and everything in between Nepal, but we're going to be talking about Nepal too. You are from Nepal, so special shout out to Nepal. I think it was X to the 10th power that was up here a couple days, twice in the past week. That was special shout outs to Nepal. So we said, let's do a show about Nepal. Now we got to do a show about Thailand, and we got to do a show about Egypt. What's going on, Carl? This is my man. Carl always got intellect to share when he come to the show. And we have gotten into some deep in conversations here. We talked about religion one time. We talked about a lot of things on this show. We had some ladies come onto the show and try to make it seem like they knew what they was talking about, but they have yet to make it make sense. I have yet to find a female that knows what to do to be valuable to a man, but they definitely know how to come in here and talk trash to us and make it seem like we don't know what we're talking about. I appreciate you too, man. You're what you and Jesse, y'all are like my A class, and Max. Max is hilarious, but y'all got to understand, Max is a young man, still getting his way into high school. So, special shout out, but I'm not gonna hold it against him. That's what I'm gonna say about that. He says, what do I get if I join your YouTube channel? Well, that depends. The YouTube channel's got levels to it. As I make more information related to all of the business and finance documents that I'm talking about on the show, as I make follow-up videos, I am creating behind the scenes videos, and we will be getting into more lives that are going to be exclusive to the members as the members progress. But when you're joining the membership, the information that I'm not giving you here on the live, with all the knowledge that I'm giving you right now, the knowledge that I'm not going to give you here is going to be in the membership. The documents that you can get certain things from certain places, and I post that stuff up, that's going to be in the membership. The places to go to find the source of where I got my information from, so that you can go and get that information as well. Like if you wanted to know about bringing your gun to South Korea, like I got the documents for that. We went to the South Korean national website and pulled off the information about registering your firearm in South Korea before you go over there. But that kind of information is only going to be for the members. There's other stuff in there like special shout outs, prioritized comments on the podcast, as long as they're appropriate. Playing games with the host. When Mr. Pibbs was here, you guys were able to play games with the host. And with GTA 5 come out, if we go live and we play in GTA 5, y'all gonna be able to jump on there with us. That's the kind of stuff that you get when you're jumping on a YouTube channel. So everybody that's interested in business and finance, everybody that's interested in improving themselves, social interaction, better decision-making process, first-person accountability, making it make sense for yourselves so that you can have a better future for yourselves. Those are the people that need to jump into the membership, because instead of you paying for a life coach, the money that you would be paying 1 hour for a life coach, you could get like months with me, 7 nights a week. And I answer all questions as long as they're reasonably formulated appropriately, you know. And if I don't have the answer, I'll do research on it and then I'll bring you the answer. That's going to be something that other people don't do. They just like specialize in a specific thing and then they walk on it. I bring you guys just about every area of information possible. And likewise, it means that I might be a jack of all trades, where I got a lot of information on a little bit of information on a lot of different topics, but I do in-depth research on it. So I've probably got 70 or 80% of all the information you need for every subject that I've ever touched, with 365 different subjects that I've touched every day. So out of the year, if I'm touching 365 different subjects and I get 60 to 70% of knowledge off of each one of them subjects, and I'm doing a different subject every day, odds are you're going to ask me a question about something that I've already addressed. And I could give you the video where I last talked about it, or more in-depth information for those that join the membership. So make sure that you guys join the membership, and also just throw some what's ups and some greatly appreciated with some 5s and 10s attached to them, so that we can go ahead and throw down on, because more news information. Guess what? Sidebar: T-Mobile is doing fiber. T-Mobile is doing fiber optics. They're starting on the East Coast. Right now, you're going to see T-Mobile fiber in Florida and Georgia. T-Mobile fiber is putting out 1,000 gigs up, 1,000 gigs down, averaging 2,000 gigs of like a fiber optic service for your cell phones, which does not, I appreciate you for being a new subscriber. Thank you so much. Which does not have the connection issues that we're having with the cell phone towers, with the 5G towers that are still have not been mainstreamed across the United States. It just started a few years ago, but it has not gone everywhere. So a lot of us that are not deep in 5G network, we struggle. And if we're in an overpopulated area with 5G network, we struggle when a tower is overrun with connectors. So them doing fiber optics, you can pick up fiber optics, where fiber optics is $110 a month for the internet service with the cell phone company, cheaper than Cox Cable, cheaper than Frontier, and it's going to give you more bandwidth service. Some people are going to jump on and tell me it's not cheaper. You can get $20 a month. Yeah, you could get $20 a month internet service from Frontier for 300 megabytes per second up and down. But let me ask you a question. If your cell phone is operating on 100 gigs a month, and your laptop is going to use more bandwidth than your cell phone, what kind of house is going to operate 300 gigabytes, 300 kilobytes per second of service instead of having 2,000 kilobytes per second of service? Gamers are looking for 2,000 kilobytes per second. And when you start talking about paying a cable company 500 kilobytes per second, you're paying them $200-$300 for the internet. So T-Mobile going to give it to you for 110. Right now, T-Mobile's got the mobile hotspot, the home internet systems. These little things right here, and this is made with Snapdragon processors, which is the software on a chip that Qualcomm was working on. I was talking to y'all about that back in August, where y'all should have invested in the semiconductors. But this little thing right here holds 64 different devices and moves a whole lot faster than most of the gateways that they've got going on right now. And the fact is that is not as good as the fiber optics that T-Mobile is about to put out. But it's giving unlimited 5G data, though. Unlimited 5G data for $60 a month with the $30 a month promo coupon, which allows you to really pay $30 a month for unlimited 5G data, where you're not paying $30 a month for unlimited 5G data with your cable company. You're not doing it. It just doesn't work out that way. So you could literally, for those of us that got smart TVs and we live off of apps on our cell phones with Hulu and all this other stuff, Netflix, Disney Plus, and all this other stuff. You could get you a smart TV or a Roku stick and just get you an unlimited home internet system that provides internet to the TV, and $30 a month, you can watch Raw, SmackDown, football, whatever the heck you want to pay for, and only be paying $30 a month instead of paying $185 a month for Cox Cable. $255 after the promo go down for you to have limited channels. That's the basic. So all of this type of information is the stuff I tell y'all about when I start telling y'all about, oh yeah, if you join a membership, you could come up with a lot of information from me, because I'll talk to you guys about the renewable energy that they're changing, and going from like cutting you guys bill credits to cutting you guys checks in certain areas where they got the merit-based system, where there's all kinds of stuff that we got going on. They got people, they're going from dollar for dollar down to wholesale, where the electric company is no longer paying you dollar for dollar what they charge other people. They're paying you prorated, which is like 60% of what they would charge other people, which means you're not making a ton of money off of getting solar panels put on your house. If you're lucky, depending on the size of your solar system, you will break even, where the money that they're paying you will pay for the solar panel so that you don't got to pay for electricity. That's it. And if you finance it with your house, you're paying all this money for solar panels on your house, and then the interest on the mortgage, the second mortgage, to pay off the advanced installation, because they're going to sell you the panels, and then you might get a tax credit. But after that, the money you're getting from the electric company, where you still got to send them $10 a month, but they're going to send you a check back for everything over what you didn't use, that's going to pay the people that loaned you the money to put this shit up on the roof. So you ain't making no extra money off that. You're not going to get rich off of building a field of solar panels. You could if you had a 30-acre piece of property and you set up a solar grid, and that solar grid had a contract with the city to produce a few hundred kilowatts of power a month. Then you could turn out some money. But $500,000 worth of solar panels so that you can get $30,000 a month worth of capital back on 50 acres of solar panels. Yeah, you're going to make money over a long period of time, but the startup, that's going to be a bitch. Then you got to pay somebody to go through the whole property and maintain it. And now you got to pay people not to break the stuff. You got to have security guards, and you're starting up a whole business. You can do it. I'm not saying it's not worth it. I'm just saying I'm not going to put my effort into that shit. But there is more profit involved in that than there is investment cost. And that's the reason why a lot of businesses are investing in solar. With Donald Trump switching over to solar, that's something you should take into account, and then look at the fact that there are governmental incentives for that, even here in the United States, where you can get either tax credits, which reduce the cost of the solar panels, or reimbursements of expenses. All that stuff is going there. Now, Uma says the building collapse looked a little too clean to me. Bro, they blew the building up when the plane crashed into it, just like demolition squads blow up buildings that are scheduled for demolition. It's not like that was an accident. It's not like they chipped the some. It's like how does it hit the top and explosions on every floor happens, bro? That's not the building shouldn't have fallen that way if it was just a plane. Yeah, no, it wasn't supposed to fall that way if it was just a plane. And yeah, Carl is right. I definitely do my homework. I sit here. I'm supposed to start the show at 10 o'clock Central Time, and sometimes between 10:30, 10:45, I start the show, because I get so much information. Like today's show, I got 56 pages of information, and I'm on page 32. And I sidebar to talk about other stuff. And if I don't have nothing that's following the show, I'll keep the show going until I get all the information out. We run out of stuff to talk about. We tired of conversating. Everybody going to bed. That's when I wrap up the show. I don't just cut it and be like, nope, I don't have no knowledge. I'm not going to talk to y'all. I'm going to walk away. No, I got a shit ton of knowledge. I went to college for 8 years, microbiology, communication and health, and computer technology, and I did nothing with them degrees. Now, I'm going to tell you guys about how to make money for you, because at least I could use my knowledge that I learned how to do research in college to be able to enhance my levels of knowledge, share that with other people, and hopefully turn a profit off of that down the line. Instead of being like some of those seminars that bait you in with bullshit and, oh, you could be just as good as me without telling you how, and then swear to God that if you just dedicate yourself to a plan without telling you what kind of plan you need to have, and then telling you that you can be somebody without ever showing you how to get to being somebody, and then ask you to give them a ton of money so that you can never be somebody because you're putting a bunch of effort into paying them, but not a bunch of effort into learning shit. I'm going to tell you every day of the week, you're going to learn something from me, whether you want to or not. The longer you sit on this podcast, the more information you're going to learn. And one of the best things I tell you guys is that every time I throw you down, open challenge. Every time I throw you guys some information, you go ask the Google lady. If you go and ask the Google lady, where I got my information from is where you're going to get your information from. You'll be able to cross-reference everything that I talk about on the show, and you're going to be like, damn, he was right. Just like when we was talking about the other day, when the man was telling me that there was 34% of female judges in family law. That's not true. It's not 34% of female judges in family law. It's 34% of females in the legal system that are lawyers. I mean, that are judges. But family law in some counties actually has like 6 out of 8 judges are female. Now, nothing wrong with females, but we're looking at 18% of single fathers or divorced fathers that are coming to get their kids, and 18.6% of men actually get their kids. And it's terrible when some of those men that never did anything wrong, the child wasn't taken from them. These are men that came to collect their child because the state said, you're a dad. They said, well, I'll come get him. I'll take care of him. 18% of men succeed with coming to get them. The rest of them spend the child's entire childhood fighting the system to qualify to be the child's dad because that's what they want to do, not because that's what they have to do. And the country has a tradition, not just old women. The country has a tradition to give the kids to the women. Not saying that the women shouldn't have them some of the time, but shouldn't dads have an opportunity to teach the children logic and reason before the women teach the children do as I say, not as I do? That's all I was saying. And in all fairness, for the sake of women, that the female judges are a little bit more lenient towards being neutral than the men are, because remember, even though the laws were not in the men's favor for 200 years, women just started becoming judges within the last 50 years. So it's like the decision that the children go to the women was a gender-based man decision, not necessarily the women are doing that. What I said is that as a single father, if you're in a courtroom where the judge is a woman, all the lawyers are women, the opposing counsel is women, the woman that's got your child, and then you're the only man in there, like, it's hard for you to try to argue your position. Try picking up a chick in a room full of chicks that don't want you to talk to the one girl that you're trying to talk to. What happens? Your ass get rejected. So, like I said, it's hard for men to go and try to fight for their kids. And being in one of the first generations of fathers that are coming for their kids, because remember, 80s and 90s, dads were missing in action. They were either dead in jail, on probation, or off with a new woman, fresh out of divorce. 2000s and 2010s, the men started coming for their kids, and don't nobody want them to come get them. That's what we were talking about. We're going to do a show about that on Saturday. He said the money you pay to a life coach, ironically, pays for the life coach's life. That is true. He said, what are you going to do? Working with a company in Florida, I think, where they hooked up drones. Yeah, I actually had a company that I was working with in Florida that was doing that too. Is it how an American volunteer helped kickstart Ukraine's unstoppable drones is title of the Forbes article. Well, you look, Oprah got a bunch of money because the United States has grants on grant.gov. You can go get, if you have a 501c3, I told you guys about setting up a 501c3 and doing stuff in your community and writing that off on your taxes. But you've got, go to grants.gov with your 501c3 company, and you can qualify for certain grants depending on what your nonprofit is doing. And if you think about it, you can go to another country like Oprah did, build cities over there. There's grants for that. The U.S. government will pay you money to develop another country, as long as your nonprofit is a U.S. based nonprofit. So if you wanted to go to the Philippines, you could go to the Philippines on business, and you can develop the Philippines on faith with U.S. money. And the executive board can get paid 5% of all the money that's given to them from anywhere. So you get a $50 million grant, you get 5% of that for the executive board. Spread the wealth, right? And he has a Business Insider article called Inside Ukraine's Race to Crack Out Unjumbled Fiber Optic Drones that can break through Russia's electric warfare. That's a pretty thick copy of a book, I gotta tell you. But truth is, like, you can do just about anything. You can do just about anything, but a lot of the grants is going to be in real estate, because you have grants for halfway houses for released inmates. You have grants for employment for released inmates, rehabilitation programs. You have grants for insane asylums, grants for children, runaways, runaway teens, orphanages, children that age out of the system. They have safe houses for them, battered women's shelters, drug addiction rehabilitation centers, research facility grants for those guys, veteran housing, redevelopment of at-risk communities. That all of that is, and that's just here in America. Now, when you start talking about doing all that same shit in a third world country, they got more grants for that. Plenty of them. And any money that you take out of your own pocket and put it into your nonprofit to make that situation happen is a tax deduction, as long as you write yourself a receipt using your EIN number for the nonprofit as the person receiving it, and your social security number as the person giving it. There you go. Now, just note, you cannot donate to charity with an LLC. You can donate to charity with a C corporation, or you can donate to charity with your own personal social security number and get a tax deduction on that. And your LLC's tax deductions pass through your W-2 taxation, so you can get business corporate tax deductions for your LLC, and then get your charity tax write-off from your social security number. But you have to make sure that the donation is from your social security number to the nonprofit. And that's why I told you guys, y'all could improve your child's education by donating to schools. When I say that, people thumbs down the show that day. And I'm like, look, it's real, because the school system, just like the prison system is a privatized system, but the police department is funded by the government. If you donate to the police department, that's a tax write-off. If you donate to the school, that's a tax write-off. I'm not saying fund police officers. I'm saying fund your child. If you got kids and you want your child to have a good education, it's better for you to take the money that you would have gave to the White House and give it to the child's school, and you can see your tax dollars working for you, because the school is going to show you more respect, to show your child more respect, if you spend $10,000, $15,000 a year at a public school for your child to go to a public school, instead of you spending $3,000 a semester for your child to go to a private school. If you take private school fees and throw it into that public school, your child will get a better education. Only difference is, if you can't afford it because times is tough every now and again, the school ain't going to treat you like shit. Your child not going to feel like, oh, they poor people, blah, blah, blah. You're not going to get that. You're not going to get that alienation in public school, because everybody broke in public school. But if your family got enough money to drop 15 stacks in 9 months for the academic year, ain't nobody talking to you like you should. You know what I'm saying? So give your kids a better education. You said, Max said his name is Trey Smothers. You'll see the name in his article. Yeah, I'll see what I can do about fitting that into one of the shows, because you're telling me about the Ukraine race to crack down unjumbled fiber optic drones. I'll throw that into a business and finance show probably sometime next week. Because yeah, I do still have a lot of stuff about I have a lot of stuff about Nepal today. He said, I meant about the solar panels. Oh, what did you say about the solar panels earlier? Yeah, I did my homework about the solar panels too. You damn right. He said, generally, men are better at controlling their emotions than women, something a father could teach his kids. Usman, real talk. Men are not going to manipulate the children. Men are going to make a deal. You do what I want, I will give you some of the things that you want. I'm always going to give you what you need, but I'm not going to give you anything that you want if you don't cooperate with me. Make it make sense. Men will be able to explain to their children why they don't want them to do what they're doing, and even go so far as explain to them why they're going to receive certain types of consequences for doing whatever it is they already done. If I'm going to beat your ass is the response to what you're about to go do, you know that if you go do that, you're going to get your ass whooped. You got people, oh, we don't like corporal punishment. Understandable. But as much as you claim that you feel like spare the rod, spoil the child, you have to understand that if your child don't get spankings, discipline at the house, they will get it eventually. And I can tell you firsthand that the children that don't get whoopings at the house when they kids are more likely to get that ass whooping in that damn traffic stop when they talking back to the cop that also didn't get the whooping. The one that got bullied in school and now he's a traffic cop. The one that didn't make it in life and now he's bullying people for his career. You don't learn self-respect and self-control and self-discipline and accountability until your mama done bust your ass or your daddy done bust your ass because they told you not to do it. Because the first thing daddy gonna come and ask you as he take his belt off to bust your ass, the first thing he gonna ask you is, why did you do it? And then the second thing he's gonna ask you is, what was you thinking when you did that? And everybody know right before that ass whooping, all we can say is, I don't know. And follow that up with, because something our friend said. And that's really what we getting our ass whooped for. We not, no, hands down, y'all, hands down. Uma said, you're right. Some women go through the most mental gymnastics to justify their logic. Oh, bro, you should have been here with me, Carl, and Jesse 2 weeks ago on Sunday. We had 5 women trying to validate women without showing value to men and saying that women are the prize. I tell you what, we had a mission. But think about this, though. If you really look back to it, because most of us on this show right now that are middle-aged men or older, when we were children, we used to get our ass whooped. We caught whoopings. If we had siblings, we caught the whooping because we saw our family member get a whooping, and we started laughing. You remember that? Your brother or your sister getting a whooping, you laughing at them getting a whooping. They come and give you a whooping because you laugh. Why did they whoop your ass? Because you are not supposed to find joy in other people suffering. That's why they whooped your ass. You didn't know it. You got your ass whooped because they got their ass whooped and you thought it was funny. But see, when they get their ass whooped, next time your ass ain't laughing. You learn something. Now, think about in the streets when they slamming, George Foreman or whatever in the streets. You not out there wilding enough for the police to slam your ass too. Why? Because you learn when you was small that if you not involved, don't get involved. Now, yeah, we running up in their face with them cell phones and stuff where I tell y'all use body cameras instead because don't nobody care about the body camera. But the fact is that you're not forcing a cop to get off of the guy. If the guy's getting arrested, the guy's getting arrested. You standing back and recording that shit. But you're not about to push the cop down, talk about something. You can't do that. No, you learn from don't disrespect your authority at the house. They bust your ass. But also think about this. The other reason why we got our ass whooped is not because we did what we did. The reason why we got our ass whooped more often than not until we became teenagers and we learned better was because we had no logical reason why we did it. And we had absolutely no excuse why we did it. And we just shouldn't have done it. So we got our ass whooped because we had no reason to do that. And we knew it was wrong ahead of the time. We were told before we did it that it was wrong. So when a man come and tell a kid, well, your actions have consequences. I teach this on the show. You do what you know is right first and foremost. You stand up for what you believe in by any means necessary, right? But you do what you know is right. Stand up for what you believe in by any means necessary and accept the consequences of your actions before you perform the action. Right? So if you know that what you're about to do is wrong, but you accept the consequences of your actions before you perform the action, go ahead and do you. If you do not want to experience negative consequences for what you're about to do, and you know the consequences of what you're about to do, don't do it. Logic. I'm not talking about morals and ethics. I'm not saying, oh, it's the right thing to do such and such, or it's wrong to do such and such. No, I'm going to tell you that you can get into a street fight in a mall, throw somebody over the banister. They could break a table on the first floor from the second floor, and that's cool. Y'all can laugh and kiki, and you can high five your homeboys, and y'all did that. But you broke that man's spine. Now you're in jail, and you're going to end up having to pay for his medical bills. This is the kind of stuff that you don't think about before you F5 him over the banister because you've seen it on TV. This is the reason why I say accept the consequences of your actions before you perform the action. These days, with lawsuits running around, back in the day, we used to get into a street fight. Nobody would talk about it as long as nobody was externally bleeding after the fight was over, clothes all ripped up or whatever. Special shout out Argentina, and also special shout out to Sebastian Lopez. So yeah, but outside of ripped up clothes, like nobody said nothing in a street fight when we was growing up. Usman said, growing up, if one of my siblings got a whooping, we all got one. I was in that same family member. Make sure y'all like and subscribe. I was the youngest in my group, and when the oldest did something they ain't had no business doing, I got one because I was there too. Accountability, because if you see them doing something wrong, you know you're going to get a whooping because they're going to get a whooping. You're going to stop them from doing it. Now, when you're grown, your friend going to the store and they're going to call themselves stealing, you ain't going in there. Why? Because if your friend is stealing and you with him, both of y'all going to jail. That whooping that you got when you was a child, it was teaching you stuff. People don't think about that stuff. Oh, I don't do corporal punishment. That's wrong. It's wrong. Look, right now today, because they say, oh, anti-bullying, cyberbullying, this, that, and the third. We got trolls on the podcast every day. And I turn the trolls from the beginning of the show when they jump in. By the time they finish, they're talking logic because I done struck a nerve and they done learned some shit. And now they done switched on their educated brain instead of their idle minds. They want to prank call a podcast like Bart Simpson used to do Moe's Tavern. But once you get on the phone and you learn some shit, and I'm gonna stay on the phone because they spark my interest. That's what this podcast does. It sparks people's interest. You don't have anybody dressing attractive on the show to draw you up here. This is a man with knowledge that's talking to you about knowledge. People stay on the podcast because they like what I had to say and they learn something from what I told them. But when I was talking to them about the corporal punishment thing, when I'm telling you about the whoopings and everything like that, I tell you, well, if you know what you're doing is wrong and you're willing to do something wrong, this is the thing that people didn't teach us when we was younger, is that the stuff that you do as a child can negatively impact the future that you want to have. We didn't know that back in the day. Oh yeah, your permanent record in school. Whoop-de-doo. Your permanent record in school is a sealed document when you're 18 years of age. Your permanent record in criminal court, juvenile court, is sealed unless you want to be in the CIA. Unless you want to be in the FBI, unless you want to work for the federal post office. It's no longer a sealed document. You didn't know that. But yeah, when I was a kid, yeah, we will all catch ass whoopings. But accountability is what we was taught. My siblings are not going to fuck up in my presence because I'm not getting no ass whooping for their stupidity. But as adults, I'm not going to let my homies do nothing stupid in my presence because I'm not getting arrested for their stupidity. I was on a date with one of my homeboys. I had a girl. He had a girl. He wanted to drive. He was drunk. I was not going to let him drive. It was his car. I would not let him drive. I messed up my night hooking up with a chick to keep him from crashing his car behind the wheel of a car because I was not going to let him drive. We went from everybody was going to go to their separate houses and one night stands and all this, that, and the other to me arguing him down where you are not driving from this parking lot. We will not leave this building until you give me them keys. By the end of the night, I got the keys. His girlfriend drove him. I drove my girl, and the car was still intact and the man was still alive. But if I would have been that go with the flow kind of fella, riding in the back seat, he driving the car, he wasted because he wants to drive his car because it's a Mustang. And then he would have crashed the car, killed both of us or crashed the car. And somebody could have got hurt, paralyzed, and the other person would have lost their life. And we would have had one of them traumatic experiences like Hangover, wondering what happened, like the bachelor party. sitting here traumatized for life because we went along with the flow with stupid friends. No, not doing that. He said, oh yeah, so I covered that. So yeah, on this podcast, we go through all kind of stuff. We talk about everything under the sun. But yeah, the thing is that the female parenting, it is do as I say, not as I do. It is extremely emotional parenting. And the issue that we have with that extremely emotional parenting is that we have guilt trips. And all of us know the guilt trips. The men become emotionally hard against the guilt trips. You have the guilt trips that force us to do stuff that we don't want to do. And we have no logical reason why we're doing it. That's where the rebellious phase from children come from. You realize that children are only rebellious because your authority is arbitrary. The rules that you set down only apply to the children. You say don't curse, but you curse. You say don't smoke, but you smoke. You say don't drink alcohol, but you drink alcohol. You say don't have unprotected sex, but you're doing it. You say don't disrespect police, but you're doing it. Everything you tell the kids don't do, you're doing it. And the kids are like, well, why are you doing it and I can't do it? What's the difference between me and you? That's when rebellion comes from. And then if they read the right book and look up the right article online or talk to the right friend in school and come to find out that they can call DCF if you hit them, then at the end of the day, oh, what you gonna do? You can't tell me what to do. I'll call them people. Look, my mama told me from small, she said, call them, tell them come get your ass right now. It take them 30 to 45 minutes to get here. And that whole time I'm gonna bust your ass. That way you remember. You'll remember. I'm gonna give them something to come get you for. That's the kind of stuff we used to hear. Y'all remember that old saying? I brought you into this world, I'll take you out. But my mama had the kind of knowledge that she would tell me the simplest concept. All men understand this, especially if you're a minority. If you get locked up, I'm not coming to get you. I'm not putting money on your books. I don't answer collect calls, and I'm not going to visit you on Sunday. But if you didn't do it, I will come and get you out. I will back you up in court. You got full support. That is the kind of situation that made me think, well, hold up now, because if I'm going to get got one way or another, because I look suspect, because I got a good tan, I need to make sure that I'm not getting caught for something wrong, because if a judge ain't going to throw the case out, my mama not going to come get it at the end of the day. So now I'm making a decisive decision. I'm like, no, I'm not about to allow myself to be in a situation where I am clearly in the wrong. I'm free to this day, law-abiding American citizen, Second Amendment hand tight, within arm reach of the podcast right now. Carl said we had the strap at school. Yup. Yeah, you know, there's only 20 states that legally does not allow ass whoopings in the school. The rest of the country still allows ass whoopings in the school. The only reason why they don't do it is because it's socially unacceptable, not because it's against the law. It's socially unacceptable. And the school board is run by popular opinion. The school board isn't run by law. So the teachers can't whip the kids in the school because the school board will lose their reputation, which means the school board will fire you to save face because the parents don't like it. But the parents teach the children to talk back to the teacher and then tell the student that the teacher can't do nothing to the student. And if the teacher do something to the student will get the teacher in trouble. So now the teacher has no authority in the classroom. And now the kids are not learning in the classroom because of this badass little child that needs his ass whooped. Everybody's failing the standardized testing at the end of the year because the teachers can't teach the kids because of the one or two class clowns. And the mama not going to want the child to get kicked out of the class every day and never learn nothing. They're going to want their child to sit in that classroom, but they're not doing nothing to change the child's behavior. This is the stuff that doesn't make any sense. Men will make it make sense. It's like, well, hold on. If you're not respecting this teacher, then I'm going to put you to work. You don't want to go to school? Let's get you a job. You don't want to work? You better shut up and pay attention to the teacher. My daddy told me the same thing. I'll pay for your standard of living as long as you go to school. You stop going to school, you stop attending class, I stop paying for your rent. Which means that since I live in this house, you can't live in this house if you're not making good grades. I tell you what, honor student for 7 years of college, honor student fresh out of high school. Reinforcement, that's what we needed. Carl said we had, so yeah, we did have the strap. And if we did something bad, and we would get it worse when we got home, but now they took the strap away and the parents don't even discipline their kids enough at home. You're right, because you know what's funny about the situation? I talked about this on a podcast a few months ago. We had back in the day, the old saying, it take a village to raise a child. And the thing is that the morals and ethics that was in that neighborhood was enforced on all the children. Your mama and daddy both had 2 jobs. You was at the house. You did something you ain't had no business doing, and your neighbor seen it. The neighbor lady beat your ass. Then they told your mama when your mama got home, your mama beat your ass. Then your mama told your daddy when your daddy got home, and then your daddy beat your ass. And if you had that type of close-knit family where y'all went to other family members for the holiday, as soon as you got in the door, you would tell the other family members what you did when you was at your house, and some of them would beat your ass. So you wouldn't get just one whooping. You get like 3, 5, sometimes 7 if you got a big family for the one thing you did wrong. Back in the day when we was in school, the teacher, all the teacher had to say was, don't make me call your parents. Don't make me call your parents. He said, yeah, my mama wasn't messing around. He said all the teacher had to do is say, don't make me call your parents. You remember before cellular phones came out, when we still had pay phones out there, the Bible do say, don't spare the rod. But you remember back before cell phones, before the pay phone got taken up out of the cities and states, back in them days, when you had the landline and you had to hurry home and try your best to catch that phone call from the school so that your mom and daddy didn't know that the teacher called the house. You had to go try to get rid of that voicemail if they left a message on a thing. Y'all remember back in the day, they used to send us home with a piece of paper that our parents had to sign. We had to forge our parents' signature and send it back to the school so our parents didn't know that we got in trouble. You remember them days? Back in the day when we used to forge their signature for a field trip and take our allowance money and pay for the field trip, our parents didn't know that we was on a field trip. Then when they come back and they talk to our parents about it on Parent Teacher Day, and the parents like, well, I didn't approve none of that. Now we got to ask what because we forged their signature. All of that. He said it's a whooping wholesale. All of that. But that's the reason why we became more mature, respectful, and appropriate. And the fact is that if you got men now that learn from their mistakes and learn from the mistakes of the friends around them, and those men are fathers, those men are going to teach their children not to do the same stupid shit that they did growing up. They're going to see the stuff that they used to do. And instead of them saying, oh, don't do it because I say so, they're going to come here, little whippersnapper. Let me tell you what happened when I did that. This happened, that happened, this happened. All the worst sides of the story that we never wanted to tell our mom and dad. And that's why I'm asking you not to do it. The children are going to stop and think and quit doing that shit. And I got an example for you. Back in the day, me and my mom, she used to drive and she used to text my sister while driving the car. I didn't want my mom to drive and text. This is before they had don't text and drive laws out there, clicking and ticking and crap. I just didn't want her to text because they used to crash my cars a lot, and I used to spend a lot of money on fixing all of my cars. So I'm like, look, maintenance wise, if you pay attention to the road, you'll stop jumping curves and busting the axle and got me fixing these cars. So stop texting and driving. So in order for me to get her to stop texting and driving, I did her something that they used to do with us with the sex ed class. They scare you out of sex by showing you childbirth. I scared her out of texting and driving by showing her one of those Final Destination cell phone commercials. It was just these. I put the video together. The people were riding down the road. They were driving their car. Somebody was paying attention to their phone. They looked down. The third time they looked up, the car was barrel rolling down the street. Cell phone flew out the window. Somebody's head got snatched off. Body got split in half. Car was in 4 pieces. Nobody survived. Then I sent her another video after that where the children got killed, but the adults survived, and now the adults sitting in prison. Each one of those videos ended with, had you not been texting, this wouldn't be you. Now, my mama got that second video, text me back and said, this will be the last text message I send while I'm in the car. I am not even going to pick up my phone while I'm in the car. And from that day forward, she did not even answer the phone when she was driving the car. She would get whoever else was in the passenger seat answer that for me. It was logic. I'm not going to tell you, oh, don't do that because I say so. That's all right. You can do it if you want to. Just know that you might kill yourself doing it. Driving a car while texting is like jumping out of an airplane without a parachute. You're taking risks. The faster you go, the less likely you're going to make it. So he said, I remember the foraging part. Go get me a switch. I remember the foraging part too. Go get me a switch. And it better be a good one too, because if you go get your little flimsy one, I'm going to go get a big one. I'm going to beat your ass twice. Yeah, I remember that. Now you're trying to figure out how big a switch you want to get, because you don't want it to be too big, but you don't want it to be too small. And then in my house, I had bamboo in the backyard, so go get me a switch was not a nice thing. Go out there and go get me a kendo stick and cover it with and go back. So when I was watching WWE, when I was watching ECW, and I was watching them boys get hit with them kendo sticks, I was like, oh, yup. My mama got me like that yesterday. Oh, I know that hurt. You know, that smack sound. Don't get caught in the bathtub. See, look, we were taught when we were growing up, and y'all know this, long-term consequences of your actions, because short-term immediate consequences for your actions didn't teach you shit. You did it. You got your punishment. It's done. Move on with your life. Let your butt heal up. Move on with your life. We had delayed discipline. They found out. We knew we was in trouble. If we didn't catch the whooping before dinner, it was still coming. Sometimes we catch it in the tub. Sometimes we catch it right before bed. Sometimes we catch it after we sleep. But before the sun rise, you getting your ass whooped today. Just don't act a fool in public, because they'll be gritting their teeth later. That's all they say is later. They're not going to tell you when. Later, I'm going to beat your ass. And that's it. You just know your whole mood didn't change, because for the rest of the day, you don't know when. You just know it's coming. And the fact is that you be trying to be on your best behavior for the rest of the day and hope that they forget. And then you in your jammies, you comfy, you in bed early tonight, because you just know if I go to sleep, they're not going to get me. You get halfway through getting started on that good dream, and then what? You got people falling out the bed screaming. You just know. And ain't nobody gonna say nothing in the morning. Ain't nobody gonna breakfast is awkward. Breakfast is awkward silence. Like you cheated on your husband with your brother and just found out that your brother, who is your best friend, is actually your brother when you thought that was just your homeboy from down the way. That kind of awkward. Yeah, everybody in the breakfast room looking, because so-and-so got their behind whooped while we was trying to sleep. Everybody else had to pretend like they was still asleep, not laugh, because they would have caught a whooping too. Don't move, because if you move, you not sleep, and you supposed to be sleep, and they're going to bust your ass because you didn't go to bed on time. All of that. And look, like Umar said, it's funny how during childhood, these beatings hurt, but during adulthood, you can share whooping stories and laugh about it. But see, we can share whooping stories and laugh about the moral compass that we learned from getting our ass whooped when we was younger. And we look at the lack of moral compass that the chillins got right now, like that little girl in Florida that I think that was a Christian school, where she had slept with 25 of the boys of the school in the boys' bathroom. Where was her discipline at? Or the little boy that's shooting up school because a girl turned him down, or the other little boy that shot up school because they were picking on him, or the 5 kids that out there shooting up the Columbine school because they're picking on him. When did you decide that it made most sense to destroy your life and everybody else's life, when all you had to do was just go and get you some weights, work out for a week and a half, practice your swing, go over there and knock that son bitch out at the damn lunchroom line? That's what he gonna stop. You embarrass him one time, he ain't gonna mess with you no more. If all of the kids that got bullied jump the bully will stop bullying folks. Because bullies is usually 3 against 1. If all the kids getting bullied, jump the bully would know how it feels now. He'd be scared to mess with y'all. Y'all catch him while the teacher not looking. Just saying. To avoid the upcoming whooping, you would need to turn into a master spy and mentalist, time and everything. You sure did. But that gave us foreshadowing. That gave us critical thinking. It gave us forethought. It also gave us the ability to recognize accountability, because the entire time you're sitting over there thinking about what's about to happen, it hasn't happened yet, when it's going to happen, where it's going to happen, if it's going to happen. You're sitting also thinking all the different ways you could have not done what you did so that you wouldn't have got caught for this. We didn't just learn how not to get caught for doing stuff we had no business doing growing up. We also learned how to avoid getting in trouble for it, but also negotiate our way out of it. Well, Mom, I could take a grounding instead of taking a whooping. I could take a month of punishment instead of, you can have my video games and stuff. I don't need to talk to my friends. I could just come straight home from school. Anything not to catch that whooping. Hey, it's good to talk to you, Carl. I'm going to see you tomorrow night, man, because we're going to finish up Nepal, because I still got 30 pages of Nepal information that I wanted to share with you guys. But, we talk about this, that, and everything in between. So we always splitting the topics. Is that our family has us CIA ready at 10 years old. But you know what, Usman, not only did our parents have us CIA ready when we was kids, that investigative tactics right now is military ready, which is one of the reasons why Donald Trump is enlisting the children. You've seen during his campaign trail, all the children in the K through 12 schools is getting the military enlistment test. He said that. But look at the skill set that these kids got, though. You got that one little boy that outran military drones with his drone. And he ain't have no like really expensive nothing or other. He had a regular ass toy thing with some good ass reception. And that little boy outran the military with his drone. I was telling y'all the other day about how that compare the neural link that Elon Musk made for the invalid people with gamers, with the neurotransmitter in the brain. You got that movie Game On. I told y'all a week and a half ago or 2 weeks ago that the stuff that y'all see on TV is real facts put into a fictional storyline. Game On is going to happen. Legit. Human soldiers that are neurally controlled by a drone pilot. It's going to happen. The best of both worlds. The physique of an athletic American soldier with the mentality of a tactician. Because we always know that the buff, strong guys are dumb as a box of rocks, and the smart guys are weak as fuck. So you put 2 and 2 together, and you make the ultimate soldier. It is what it is. And everybody that's playing Call of Duty getting drafted. Apex getting drafted. Because that's where it's at. That's where it's at. But yeah. The fact is, but we know how to investigate. We know how to do research. We have the women that are getting offended when the men look into the background, but that's what it is. The women feel like it's supposed to be intrusive. It's not supposed to be intrusive for us to unlock our cell phones, for them to go through our Google history and go through our social media platforms to find out if we're talking to other people. But think about the fact that if you don't trust me, we shouldn't be together. But before we start committing to one another, you should have did a background check on me. You should have found out if I was married to somebody. You should have found out if I had child support that I had to pay before you decided to commit to me, because whatever shit I got going on in my life is now your problem. So in a lot of relationships, people are talking about, oh, that's wrong for her to go and investigate after y'all done got together. And now she want to go and see if you a hoe. Yeah, that's disrespectful. But before you figure out what his last name is, and before you commit to this relationship, you go find out if he's single for real or if he playing the field. That's fine. That's fine. You look into the other person, because it's better to be safe than sorry. You investigate the other person. Y'all don't need private investigators to y'all spend all this money on. If you got to spend money on a private investigator, you're fucking up. Two reasons. One, if it costs you money to build trust in your relationship, you don't need that relationship. That trust is supposed to just happen. You're not supposed to. When you're paying a private investigator, you already know that you dip it. You just need an excuse. Because if you don't leave because of what the private investigator found, the person that's being investigated gonna leave because you're using his money to investigate him. He gonna dip. Now, y'all can investigate without that. At least those of y'all that are like 16 to 25, maybe 30, y'all can investigate one another. And y'all can investigate one another easy, because y'all dumb as fuck with y'all decision-making processes. And let me explain to you why. Everything you do, you put it on social media. Everywhere you go, you put it on social media. Everything you touch, you put it on social media. Everything you have, you put it on social media. You give people a tour of your house. You give people a tour of your cars. Everybody who follows your platform knows everything about your life. Now, the average American person has probably 85 or 90% of Americans always update their information on a timely fashion. That information is sold. It is public record. So your address, your driver's license status, all public record. Your license plate has all your personal information on it. It is not personal. It is all public record because you are a business. And as a business, there's transparency. So it's all public record. If they take your government name and put it into the Google search, especially if you use Gemini or Perplexity, everything about you comes up. Every social media platform you have, every place you've registered to live, every place that you have bought or sold. You can find out where somebody, if they bought a house, when they bought it, how much they paid for it, if they're still in it, who's renting from it now, if it's being rented out, how much they're renting it out for. You can find all that stuff out. How many people is in somebody's family? And this is the free search. This isn't even paying the $1 for the free trial thing. This is the free search. You can find out if they're a Democrat or a Republican. You can find out if they have a wish list for the baby or the marriage, which if they have a wish list for a baby party, that means they're pregnant. If they got a wish list for a wedding, that means somebody's engaged. You can tell what's going on in somebody's life. All them bumper stickers people be putting on their car, that's snitch on who you are. You got 5 little stickers on the back of the car, a man, a woman, 3 kids, and a dog and a bicycle with a baby. You letting them know that's a family of 6 with a newborn. My kid is an honor student at such and such school. You letting them know what school your kid go to. You are telling the public everything about your personal life. So if somebody really want to know what's going on in your life, all they got to do is Google you. If you get in trouble with the law, it's public record. Google your name, your criminal records show up. This is the stuff that I tell people about not making mistakes online, not making mistakes in real life. You do something stupid right now, you got 10 people around you record, you do something stupid. They posted it on their platform. You didn't even pay attention to them. And now you are viral. The problem is that when you make a stupid decision in 2025, the business that you're working for can do the exact same Google search and find every item that has you in it. And as AI technology improves, they're going to have software recognition that is going to recognize your facial impression, that your name is identified in that photo. And then when they Google your name, guess what else pops up? Your name and your photo and what car you drive. That's an easy hit, bro. That's an easy hit. Your enemy. If you Google their name, you can print out all the information that you got on them, put it into one of them CIA manila folders and take a safety pin and clip the photo of their best photo that you can get of them on that file. And it will look exactly like a private investigative file. Legit. You can have somebody talk shit to you on the phone. If you was listening to them when they first started talking to you and you got their name and you Google their name, you can Google where they work. You can go to their job, stand outside of their car, look at their photo and confirm the person walking up before they walk up. You know more about them than they know about you. You're just a random person that they talk to on the phone, but you know everything about them. Mama and daddy made us CIA agents, but we lazy as fuck as grown-ups. When you doing business with somebody else, you're supposed to look them up, see who they are. Do I really want to fuck with this person or not? Do I really want to date this person or not? Instead of us trying to impress girls, we're supposed to be trying to figure out if that's the one for us, which means we're supposed to be paying attention to what she's done in her past, and will that negative reputation negatively impact my reputation? Highly important. If we all pay attention to that out the gate, wouldn't have as many problems. Uma said decades ago, the Russians tried to make super soldiers by crossbreeding their scientists and athletes. They didn't have Elon Musk in Russia. That's the problem. But you see, they got robots, companion bots. Elon Musk made a girlfriend out of an AI. And fact is that in society, every society, they only replace what is not working well. So when they start creating machines that replace the feminine roles, women need to stop acting like men and start stepping back into them feminine roles. And I'm not just going to go after the women on this topic, because they're making machines to replace manual labor workers. So anybody who ain't trying to get into technology better stop fussing at their boss about these damn raises, because you're going to push yourself into a $45 an hour and you're going to be the first one fired when the machines that's getting paid $3.50 an hour come taking over. Amazon, Starbucks, I just want y'all to understand, forming a union, yeah, that's great, forming a union. Now you're going to be guaranteed to get paid when they need you. But when they don't, because Digitech and Tesla gonna come together and make Skynet, and then you ain't gonna have no job. Americans are not the only ones in the world that are lazy. Humanity is lazy. And in order for us to stay lazy, we eliminate stress and frustration by substituting it with artificial intelligence. The advancements of technology is advancing to aid us in being lazy. That's why ChatGPT is so popular, because nobody wants to look nothing up. Instead of you looking up 20, 30 sources, you're going to go into ChatGPT one time, write a question in there one time, and whatever the response is, that's the response. But it is a collection of data and information, and it depends on the question. Think about this for those of you that use ChatGPT. If you were to write the same inquiry in there 5 different ways, or take one of the key points that was identified from the original question and ask a question about that, you will definitely find way more information than the original synopsis from ChatGPT. You still have to ask 5 or 10 questions to get all the information you need from ChatGPT to make the assessment that you need. Uma said, I feel sorry, man, looking for marriage in the West. Bro, you're not looking for marriage in the West. You're looking for a one-night stand. You're looking for friends with benefits. You're looking for jump-offs. You're looking for slump busters. You're looking for renting a girl. You're leasing a girl in the West. He said, imagine going to an event and 3 of your ex-girls are there. Nah, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. And you know why that's not going to happen? Because men only go places that women want to go. Imagine her popping up in something that you like, because women don't do that. That's when she's stalking your ass, because men and women don't have the same interests. So she's not going to be at an event that you want to go to. You only wanted to go there because that made her happy and that would get you sex. You didn't go there because that's what you wanted to do. And she's not going to go there after y'all break up, because if she went somewhere with you that you wanted to do, she only did that so you can stop bitching about the fact that she don't ever go nowhere and do nothing for you. So when she stopped messing with you, she's not going to be anywhere that you go because she wasn't interested in that to begin with. And the only reason why she would be where you are right now is to get on your damn nerves, to make sure that you're miserable because she ain't satisfied with the fact that y'all broke up. We had a lot of women come up on the podcast and talk about how the ex-boyfriends that they was dating ain't shit. But I had to remind those women, sweetheart, he chose you just like you chose him. So if he ain't shit, then what does that say about you? I can honestly say that as a man, I've made bad decisions in my life picking women because of the mindset that I had back in the day. But if you change your mentality and you're focusing on your success, you're focusing on a woman that wants to be successful with you, where she's going to aid you and be a partner with your success, then you're looking for different characteristics. When we was young and dumb and full of cum, we was chasing women so that we could get laid. So we didn't care if she had ambition. We didn't care if she had a drive. All we cared that she was available and willing. And if those two things happened at the same time, we had a match. And our expectations for a woman would depreciate over time the harder it was for us to get a woman to say yes. But in your middle ages, now that you're worth some money, now that you done spent 3/4 of your life building up the resources that you have, you own your own house, you own your own car, you're running 1 or 5 businesses under your name and stuff. Now you have expectations. You're not going to sit here in your 30s and 40s and 50s, 60 years old talking about some, oh, it's okay, you don't have to. Nah, what the fuck is you doing for all the money you expect me to pay for you? That's what we're talking about these days. And a lot of women don't have an answer for that question. I ask a lot of women that watch the podcast, besides sex, the career choice that you chose and the education that you got, what do you bring to the table that a man values? Because men inherently know what women value, what most women want outside of the unique details that she would prefer to have. In addition to that, we all already know what women primarily look for. And the more we can achieve that, the more likely we're going to get out into the dating field and try to see if we can get a woman that expects that. But I ask women all the time, do you even know what men want? What men need? Take sex off the table. We don't care about how much money you make. We don't care about your degrees, because as long as you have common sense, you don't need book smarts. So what do you bring to the table besides them 3 things that makes you consider yourself a 10, that makes you consider yourself a prize, that makes you consider yourself what a man values? First time a woman says, oh, childbirth. But sweetheart, if you're not giving birth to the child, regardless of whether or not you want it or not, you're going to control the child. You're going to kill the child off. You want an abortion, so he can't control that. You're not valuable if you're not willing to have children for a man that wants children. So again, what do y'all bring to the table? When I ask that question, not too many people, the women start logging off. When I ask that, they don't have answers for that. So women suddenly hate their ex after it ends. Yes, they do. They always hate their ex after it ends. And you know what's funny though? A man doesn't hate his ex after it ends. A lot of the times he's sad that he does not have that life partner that he thought he had in the girl that he had. He ain't trying to go back there, because if he did everything that he could do in that relationship and a relationship still failed, he's done. Once he closes the chapter on that book, he's going to build a wall behind it. He ain't going back. But he always going to wish that relationship would have worked out. But women aren't going to admit that. That's the difference. The first person accountability is one of the things I talk to you guys about on the show. But I also do got some stuff that I want to tell y'all about that Nepal, because I did. I told you I had a lot of stuff about Nepal. We be talking about this, that, and everything in between. Make sure y'all like and subscribe as y'all pop in, because we got a lot of stuff going on. I know people come in here like, his show said it was supposed to be talking about Nepal. He talking about women. This is a red pill podcast. Nope, it is not a red pill podcast. This is a podcast of uniformity. We talk about everything under the sun, but when it comes down to poor decision-making processes, I'm going to call it like it is. If it don't work, it don't work. But uniformity speaking, If it was supposed to be done a certain way, if he did it, it's supposed to be done the exact same way if she does it. But if it's not that way, then it is subjective and arbitrary. And if it is subjective and arbitrary, why are you making a man do it? That's what I expect. He says women don't like self-improvement too. Well, they feel like they're perfect. And that's I've said that on the show plenty of times. I've said that if a female says that she's a 10, then she has no intention on improving herself. Nobody is a 10. No man and no woman on the face of the earth is a 10. Because there's something about you that you don't like. And there's something about you that people that you know in your society that you affiliate with don't like about you. Your behavior, your actions and decision-making processes, something about you they don't like. Some people, it's physical attributes. There's something about you that they don't like. So you are not perfect. Saying that you're 10 says that you're perfect, says that you have no reason to change. Now, yes, even though nobody's perfect, there may be things, characteristics about you, character traits about you that you have no interest in changing. But if you know that that is a character flaw and you have no interest in changing it, that also means you're not perfect. So why say that you're a 10 when you're not? Any woman that tells me that she's a 10, I'm popping a balloon, because that's a goddamn lie. You're not going to come and tell me that you're a 10. I know I'm not perfect. I can tell you with these $800 prescription glasses on my face that I'm not perfect because I got vision problems that cost me $800 to correct. But on that mentality, if I am $800 of corrective lenses, I'm $800 blind. On that same mentality, if you have $2,500 worth of makeup, hair, and all this other stuff to change the way you look to make you look attractive, you're $800 unattractive, $2,000 unattractive. If that's $10,000 worth of make you look good and filters and Photoshop to make you look good, then that's exactly how much ugly you are. I identify that as upkeep, because natural beauty needs nothing but splash some water on your face and walk outside. That's it. If you got to spend an hour and 45 minutes putting your face on, that's because you that fucked up. Taking an hour and 45 minutes to put your face on is like pulling the dent out of a crashed car before you drive it. Think about that. If it's time to go and you ain't ready yet, you should just be able to wipe your face clean, get the dirt off your face, and walk out the house. If you ain't got that kind of natural beauty and you're not willing to flaunt that kind of natural beauty, you got some issues. You got a lot of issues, because also not only is it the issue of the upkeep, because men normally pay for that anyway. The other issue is that if you are that unhappy with yourself that you are taking a third of your income to change the way you look, that indicates low self-esteem and trauma, which I have to validate in the relationship that I don't really feel like validating, because emotional support is supposed to come from her for him. If he's having a mental breakdown because he's going to war with the world and he comes back to you and now he's got to be your emotional rock when he's emotionally unstable because he just fought the world for you, when the fuck does he have peace? I got a lot of women that say, oh, well, it's egalitarian. I work too. You work by choice, sweetheart. I am not considered a man if I don't work. Okay, that's a big difference. You work by choice. Feminine roles are helper roles. Masculine roles are get your ass out there and make that money, boy. Now, when ladies decide to go out there and do what they got to do, I respect the fact that a hardworking woman, I respect them alpha boss ladies. Much, much props to them. But you have to understand that when women fought for liberation, they fought for more responsibility. Women did not fight to not have to do stuff around the house. Women, when they fought for women's liberation, fought for more responsibility because they were denied the right or privilege to go out and earn their own income during the war. When they were losing their husbands in the war, their husbands never came back from war, and all they could do was stay at the house with no income. So they fought for the right and the responsibility to get out there and go make their own money. Now they say men are useless. All right. But if men are useless, then why are the women not paying for dates? If you honestly don't need a man should not pay for your existence from the first time he look at you and think you cute, trying to get you to go out on a date until his dying breath. If men are worthless. If men are not valuable, then men shouldn't have to pay for shit. because you can do it on your own. But if all of your entertainment is paid for by men, then men are valuable to you. If everything that you decide to do, you got to go get your allowance from your boyfriend or your husband, then men are valuable. If you're not going to accept a man who is broke and homeless and unemployed, he has to have a certain standard of financial status just to be considered your boyfriend. And he has to improve that financial status just to be considered your husband. And he has to take 2/3 of his income to buy you an engagement ring and pay for a wedding. He has to be valuable just to be your man. Because you're not paying for your own, you're not paying for your own wedding. You're not paying for your own engagement ring. Most women don't buy an engagement ring for a man, and a man is not going to complain with a $200 wedding band from Zales. But a woman want a $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 ring. Umar said that in addition to that, he said a short man can't do anything about his height, but a heavy woman could easily lose weight. That's true. And in addition to that, the women will adjust their height with heels. It's not masculine anymore for a man to wear heels. In Roman times, men were wearing heels. In Roman times, men were wearing dresses and makeup. Women took that. Then one of the queens in one of the countries said that it's prohibited for men to wear makeup. But the Roman attire that you guys wear when you're in the fraternities and dressing like Sparta, that gown dress thing, that was the normal thing to do. In historic American history, recent American history, the pilgrims that first came down had the wigs. The women are wearing the wigs. That was a man thing. It was to identify prestige. That came from Britain with Napoleon and them. The men wore the wigs. Then the judges started wearing the wigs. When everybody else stopped wearing the wigs, the judges would wear the wigs. And notice that the judge is a man in a dress, a big black dress, and a wig. That's how it used to be. They got rid of the wig, and now the men are just wearing black dresses, but it's still a man in a dress. That's the judge. Also, men used to wear heels, which shows status. They stopped doing that. They outlawed that. Like, men are not allowed to wear heels. Now, a man is not a man if he's wearing heels. But funny thing, ladies, you do walk a mile in my shoes thing. A man can walk in heels with no training way better than a woman. Think about that. It's instinctual. Now, fast forward to today, with everything that men have done in the past, women took it over and made it their thing. Now, pants, women got that. Jobs, women got that. Bosses, women got that. Government leadership, women got that. And the fact is that women are more and more and more becoming masculine, and they're offended by the thought of being feminine. And then a man asks for a feminine woman, and she calls him misogynistic. These same women are saying that the men are soft in 2025. The men are feminine. Well, the problem that we have is that you can't have two masculine parties in the same group. In order for you to have a peaceful existence, one must be masculine and the other one must be submissive and adhere to the feminine roles. Because if both of you are masculine and taking care of the masculine roles, nobody's taking care of the feminine roles. So shit's not getting done. Organization is not being taken care of. So if one of y'all is going to be the breadwinner, the other one's got to take care of the business. Somebody's got to take care of the appointments, get the cars to the shop, do the cooking and cleaning and keeping stuff tidy around the house. Because if nobody's doing that, nothing's getting done unless you're paying housekeepers and shit. So it's crazy that women find it oppressive. But I've pulled up a bunch of situations where I explain how if you get into a relationship, like I've been telling women for the longest, if you get into a relationship and you treat your relationship like a stock option, ladies, you're investing in a man. The man is the business and you working for the business. Now you want money out the man. You got to do what needs to be done so that the man can bring in more money so that you got more money in your pocket. So instead of being selfish on the forefront, be passively selfish, where you're going to help him make more money so he can put more money into your pocket. Women that want a generous man, sweetheart, if he's generous by nature, he's got good character, he's going to share his world with you. The more world you give him, the more world you got. Catwoman helped Batman take over Gotham so that she could get half of Gotham. Fact is, bro, as a queen, you claim to be the queen, but King Arthur never had a rebellion in his kingdom. His queen did what he needed done while he was gone, and when he came back, he had nothing but peace. And alongside his queen, every king had concubines, which is extra women outside of the marriage. And y'all don't want to listen to that. Y'all want to argue and fuss with the men because y'all want to keep the men exclusive to yourselves, because you want to keep the resources exclusive to yourself, because a man is too broke to afford multiple women like Nick Cannon can. Because he got like 14 baby mamas. And each one of them is getting enough money for child support that they don't have to work. So they don't care if he sleeps around with other women because he's rich. But women want a rich man. A poor man can't afford to sleep around with other women. That's why the women want monogamy. But the problem with monogamy is that, ladies, you now take on the responsibility to fulfill all of that man's desires. You don't feel like doing it. Your back hurt, neck hurt, side hurt, stomach hurt, cramping that time of the month, sleepy. You know, all of these is good. You come up like 15, 20 different reasons to clock out and don't come to work and do your womanly duty to keep him monogamous. You expect him to be a monk until you feel like it. But if you feel like it, he can't tell you no. And that's a problem. Now, if he succumbs to temptation outside of the relationship because what he's missing inside of the relationship you're not giving him, he's a bastard because you didn't do your job at the household. That's why I've always said when it comes down to cheating, it takes more than one person to cheat, bro. It's not just the two that's doing the cheating that's involved in the outcome of the cheating. The person that got cheated on contributed to that at the same time. There are situations where there's something that you did do or something that you did not do that allowed your partner to have the motivation to cheat. Now, that does not change the fact that there are people that cheat for the sake of cheating. But you got people who had no intention of cheating on their partner. Those are the people that are shallow enough to say, I can't date you because I am interested in a certain type of person and you have to look a certain kind of way, because if you don't look that kind of way, I'm likely to cheat on you. Them people who really set the bar low and say, look, if you look good enough, I might allow some stuff. But then the problem is that the man doesn't get recognition. He doesn't get validation. He doesn't get complimented on the things that he's doing. He's devalued because women talk about how men ain't shit, how men are worthless, how they don't need the man, how they can do it all by themselves. Oh, don't worry, I got it. I don't need you. Then when you take the value out of the man, all he is a walking paycheck that you don't respect. Now, that is going to make the man go find another woman, no matter how ugly she is, who will make him feel like he's important. And that's why you could be a 7 or an 8 and he'll cheat on you with a 4 because you had a fucked up attitude. And he went and found him a woman that would treat him the way he wants to be treated. And he's not even going to get rid of you. He's going to keep you like Ash Ketchum. He's going to catch them all. He's going to keep you, the wife. And then he's going to have the girlfriend. And he's going to have the mistress. Because if it takes 3 women to make the right girl, then that's what he's got to do. But if you want to be the only one, the man's got to not need for nothing, which brings me back to that question I asked y'all a couple of hours ago. Ladies, what do you do that a man values? Because if y'all don't know, then you probably should have 2 or 3 women in a relationship so that there's certain things that you ain't feeling like doing. You can high five your homegirl and be like, it's your turn, sweetheart. I ain't got time for that. My back hurt. My stomach hurt. I don't feel like he talking about some power driver kind of stuff. I ain't trying to do. I need a stunt devil. You the wife. You need to high five the other girl. Let the girlfriend get in there and do all the dirty work. You know the people in Dubai, the women in Dubai, they got 5, 7, 10 wives. All the women get an allowance. Ladies, Western women, I just got to ask y'all a question. Why do you want to keep the man to yourself, to keep the income to yourself, when you're not willing to do the work yourself? If you only got the motivation to give this man 7 days out of the month because the rest of the time you don't want to be bothered with him, but you expect him to still pay you for 30 days worth of being in this relationship, why not get 3 other women to entertain him so that y'all could take turns dealing with him if he's still going to give you 30 days worth of money anyway. He's going to buy you what you want, take you where you want to go, give you all the stuff that you expect from him. You just only have to entertain him when it's your week. Monday, tap Tuesday on the shoulder. Today's Wednesday. It just turned over. It's Thursday. So Thursday, it's your turn. If a man got 7 women in the house, at least one of them should give him the time of day. That's what we be talking about. Umas says, interesting talk, Xander. Until next time. I really appreciate you coming to the show, Umas. Back to us walking through this Nepal story. We were talking to you guys about all the best parts about Nepal. So make sure that y'all like and subscribe as y'all come through the podcast, because we got a lot of stuff going on. And I still got another 24 pages worth of Nepal information when we slid to the left on like 12 different topics, because on this and that, we talk about this, that, and everything in between. And make sure that y'all know that we're live 7 nights a week. And we usually start around 10:30 Central Standard Time, which is 11 o'clock Eastern Time, 7:30-ish California time. So for you guys that are Green Minutes time and Universal Standard Time, that is about 4:30 a.m. for y'all. For y'all on the east side of the world, that's about 4:30 a.m., 4:30, 4:45. You'll see me in here. If the show ain't started when you jump in, hang out for a couple minutes. I'm about to tee it off. So you already know. You just come in and chill, and just as sure as I told you, we coming, we gonna be here, because we don't let the sun rise without doing this podcast. Unless I'm dead or in jail, I'm gonna be on this podcast every night of the week, 7 nights a week, 365 days a year, 366 on a leap year. Never fails. And we always got something different for y'all, something new. But I do got to touch back base on some concepts and some ideologies that I did address in past shows. And that's one of the reasons why I encourage y'all to go to the past shows. I encourage y'all to join the memberships. I encourage y'all to get involved in the podcast in ways where people normally would not get this information, because the stuff that I give y'all would have to pay somebody a guap to sit somewhere for a half a day where they're talking about absolutely nothing that you can benefit from, just so that you can buy a seminar for the weekend and sit there for the whole weekend listening to the same stuff that you listen to at the Hilton Hotel. And then after you finish doing all that, then they're going to make you buy their membership so that you can use their software, so that you can teach yourself how to do the stuff that they were supposed to teach you over the weekend, that they were supposed to tell you about at the hotel, where you just spent the whole week not learning nothing. And now you got to teach yourself. I'm not that guy. I'm going to teach you along the way. All the stuff that I talk to y'all about doing in this podcast, I do it too. Everything that I tell y'all about investing in, I'm on that. I'm trying to figure out ways to make money for me. I'm moving money in certain places. I'm telling you from firsthand experience, it's easier to get cash stocks to put money into your pocket so that you can use the profits from your cash stocks to diversify your portfolio. You can either reinvest in certain portfolios so that you got an increased quantity of wealth coming from that portfolio, or you could take the dividends from the distributed wealth and invest in other stuff. If you're satisfied with the $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 worth of cash stocks that you got, you could take the $2,000 or $10,000 worth of dividends that you're getting from that annually and invest that into Bitcoin. You could diversify. You have to get into Bitcoin, but while you're getting into cryptocurrency, while you're dealing with day trading, you also got to dive into gold and silver. You got to dive into oil. You got to dive into solar. You got to dive into cybersecurity. I just did a show last week, Tuesday, about cybersecurity. You got to dive into all of these things. Everywhere you put your money as a consumer, you should have shares in the company as a shareholder, as a partial owner of the company that is entitled to dividend returns of some sort. Or at least the share value that you can leverage for cash loan to buy stuff cash up front, so that you're not paying for a car loan where they hold your title. You could pay a cash loan where the stock is used as collateral for the loan, so that you got the clear title for your car. If the deal goes south, they take the stock. They don't take your car and your house. But if the deal goes south and they take the stock, the debt is still paid in full. So you don't even have a charge off sitting in a collection agency talking about where's my money, because they got your money and some. That's what we be talking about. Rich people don't run from debt. They generate it so that they don't got to pay taxes on it. But if you spend money wisely, you have more money to spend. I tell y'all, ladies, that men are a walking business. Y'all are walking business too. If you're living at 34 to 40% of your income, you are a successful business. So for anybody who's listening to the podcast right now, make sure you like and subscribe. And if you know that you are living at 80 to 90% of your income, you are spending too much money. You are going to have to find a way to buy less stuff, spend less money on less stuff, stop buying so much overpriced name brand stuff for the same low quality shit that you could have got with no name brand on it at a third of the price. Turn off some of these subscriptions that you don't got time to use because you're working double overtime. Stop upgrading your lifestyle every time you get a raise on your paycheck, and start investing the extra money that you don't need so that you can start making enough money to pay for your standard of living. When the interest paid off the principal is covering your standard of living, where your paycheck can go straight into the stock because you ain't got no bills, that's when you're doing good. Until you get there, you're supposed to take every extra dollar that you don't need and invest it somewhere so that you can start getting money back, so that you can take that money and cover your bills, so that you can take more of the money that you don't need to cover your bills and put it back into the stock. And keep doing that until you have more money than what you need. Then you're paying your bills and taking the difference and putting it back into the stock. But all your bills is paid. At some point, you're going to pay your bills, put 10% aside for play money, and take the rest of it and put it back into the stock. But you're still increasing the principal. You live in a certain lifestyle, but you also got spending money on the side. That's when you can start using your discretionary funding to start doing stupid shit. When you got so much money to spend off of the money that you've invested, that you have more money than you need to live life, you can reinvest a percentage of your money back into your stock, and then take some money and go spend and have a good time and live a good life, instead of taking your whole paycheck and trying to be Rick Ross, throwing money in the air, trying to be Floyd Mayweather, throwing money in the air, throwing money on the ground. It's wasteful. Yeah, they multi-billionaires, but they're poor-minded because they're throwing money on the ground. I would have handed that money to somebody and made them do certain tasks that I did not feel like doing to accomplish goals in my life, so that I would not have to be responsible for those goals anymore. And my shit would get done, freeing up my free time so that I can do something else that puts my money into my pocket. That's what I would do. And if they do a good enough job, now they have a job, because now your job is to do the stuff I don't want to do. That's called management. They also call it delegation. But remember that we have simplified bureaucratic procedures and licensing for foreign investors in Nepal. So you want to make sure that you have permissions in Nepal for up to 100% of foreign equity ownership in some of those sectors that we have in Nepal. This is why we talk about this stuff, because you have offshore investment opportunities in every country in the world, in addition to the investment opportunities in America. Not to mention that there is an exemption on taxes up to $120,000 of offshore income that you make from another entity, where America doesn't even tax you. If you're making $100,000 in America and you're making $150,000 overseas, that $150,000, the $120,000 that you're making overseas is non-tax. The other $30,000 is taxed by the U.S., but the money that you spent overseas is written off on the overall quantity of money that you made. So like when you go into real estate, you go over there to China or Japan and you buy a house for $0 because they actually depreciate in value like cars. A 30-year-old house has no value. You pay taxes on the land, $50 to $100, $1,000 for the land, for a few acres of property. That's it. Now you own the property. Then you got to build the house up. In their country, it's a waste of time for them to take their money and build up certain properties. But I've also found out with some of my connections in the U.S. in the Hong Kong government that you actually have to file a petition with the government. It sometimes takes up to 5 years to develop a property over there. But if you pay the cost, they will allow you to rebuild the streets. They will allow you to rezone the property. They will allow you to restructuralize this. If you buy all the houses on the block, you can reorganize the goddamn block if you're willing to pay the money. And all the money that you're paying into making that something, that's a tax write-off off all the money you're making in America, since the money that you're going to make off of that is going to be taxable after you make over $120,000 worth of profit. So instead of you spending $500,000 in America on a house with $50,000 of taxes on that house at 10%, where you done paid $550 for this house, You could put $1,000 on a piece of property. You could put $10,000 on a neighborhood in Asia, and then put $500,000 in a building it up, and then turn it into rental property, where the debt in building that property is offset by the profit made. Then you could be a cheap landlord, fixed rates. Everybody's going to come running to you because you're the cheapest landlord in the neighborhood. The more properties you pull up, the more you're going to be up there at maximum capacity because your rent is cheaper than market average. Then you can hire people to work in them places for you. Guess what? In Japan, they'll pay you $23,000, which is equivalent to 2 years and 6 months, 2 years and 6 weeks, I do believe. It's like 36, almost 48 weeks of living in Japan, because it's like $8,500 a year to live in Japan, $9,000 if you're wasteful. So $18,000 could pay for 2 years out of $23,000. So you could get like 2.5 years out of a $23,000 check, but they're going to give you $23,000 right now. It's an incentive. Go ask the Google lady if you don't believe me. It's a $23,000 incentive for you to go from America to Japan in Nagano specifically and start up a business. So if you go out there, you buy some land, you build up an apartment complex, you hire 2 locals to clean the place and collect the rent. You just got $23,000. Now, you can rent one of the rooms to each of your employees and then rent the remaining rooms to everybody else. The difference between the amount of money you got to pay them versus the amount of money that they're going to pay you, because you're still going to charge them the average that you charge everybody else for rent. But the difference is that they got a little extra money on top of that, which means you got your money going to go a little bit further. But $9,000 a year, you could pay 2 people for 1 year to work in your company, or you could pay 2 people for 1 year and 3 months to work for your company before you actually have to start coming out of your profits for the payroll, which gives you a whole year to build the business up. Likewise, if you decided, because they got a lot of places out there where people like to eat, if you built a restaurant and a hotel or an apartment complex near each other, your tenants can work in your restaurant for the tenants that's not working in the hotel, and the employees that you're paying to run a restaurant is renting the apartment from you. So you stretching it a lot further. And any profits that you're not making is offset as tax deductions. You take losses on the company, but those losses are against your American profits, which means that you pay less taxes in America because you've got offshore expenses that you claim with your U.S. money. If you're going to pay voluntary taxes, if you're going to claim voluntary taxes, this is the kind of stuff that we start talking about. But now that means that every time you fly somewhere, it's a business trip. It's only really considered a business trip if you can afford to pay for it out the business profits. But if you can afford to pay for it out the business profits, if you're going to another country so that you can pick up real estate, then you're going to get paid. Well, you're going to spend money to go there. It's a business trip on record, which means that everything you buy, the business pays for, which means technically you just got a free vacation. As long as you spend, I do believe it's about 20 hours a week handling stuff for the business, which is approximately 4 hours a day, 5 days out of the week. And you can really cap that by, spending 5 hours one day looking at investigating some stuff, 2-3 hours another day talking to somebody on the phone, 6 hours trying to close the deal, and 3 hours signing contracts and stuff over dinner, where the dinner is included in tax write-offs. And all of a sudden, the food is free, the lodging is free, the flight is free. You claim it on your taxes, tax deductions. You don't have to pay the government because you flew to another country. If you have no intention of being a United States president anytime soon, you don't have to live in a country in the last 15 years. So you could really live in every other country of the world and make money doing it and turn a profit from it, because, it's a business expense as long as you're doing what you're doing for your business wherever you go. If you take your family with you and you have a family business where your family is your employees, then if you, your wife, and your kids is talking about which buildings y'all are going to look at, which clients y'all are going to talk to, which investment platforms y'all are going to invest in while y'all are having breakfast, lunch, and dinner, bowling, Peru, Paris, Europe, Germany, it's a business expense. And now y'all ain't paying for shit. The business is paying for it. But that is only effective if you actually make your company make money for you. So now you're actually spending money that would otherwise be mailed off to the IRS that's being audited by Doge right now. And since you're spending that money, because it's going to come out of your pocket anyway, since you're spending that money to go somewhere, you can still have fun while making money at the same time. And then if you turn a profit off of that investment, off of that activity, then you actually got money coming from other countries. Now, for those people who don't want to pay taxes, you ain't got to declare stuff that's overseas. If you don't feel like it, just don't tell the U.S. government that shit don't exist, because that's when you start committing tax fraud. If you say nothing, plead the fifth, you ain't committed a crime. When you claim that you have less than what you actually have, that's when you commit the crime. So when you look at that law that says that you are mandatorily required to report your taxes, you're mandatorily required to report your taxes accurately if you report it. But if you don't get around to it because you're busy, you're not committing a crime. You've noticed that the U.S. government's been talking for a while, this past 2 or 3 months, that taxes is voluntary. And people are like, shit, why didn't I know that? Because it's not really voluntary, because they forcibly take it out of your paycheck. So you file taxes because you're poor. You're proving to them that you're poor so that they can give you back the money they took out of your paycheck. If you don't take money out of your check for W-2s, you never gave the U.S. government $1, which means that they will not give you any money back. Earned income credit is money earned on your income that is credited back to you. That is what the name is. So if you ain't paid nothing into earned income credit, then they are not giving you back anything. So people who are trying to get a refund without ever paying Uncle Sam $1, y'all are going to get audited for fraud. But for those of you who would otherwise owe, just don't feel like saying nothing, it's voluntary. Those of you who want your money back, those of you who want that stimulus check, y'all are going to report so that you can get that free money. It ain't free money, though. You work for it. They took it out your pocket. They're just going to give it back to you now, as long as you file before April 14th. If not, they're going to penalize you and then give you back some of it. Think about that. Now, they got some sectors that are specific to certain incentives, like the special focus on energy production and agriculture in Nepal, infrastructure and tourism, and IT. Technology is a big thing in all countries around the world right now, and manufacturing. Just note that you got to deal with tariffs. So the cost of products is going to go up. If you order from Temu instead of Amazon Prime, because Amazon Prime is going to have delayed shipping if the product is coming from outside of America. But if you order from Temu, it's a third of the price of what you get it from Amazon. And if it's coming from China, because most things come from China, it's going to spend an extra week at customs. If it's going to spend an extra week at customs, Temu has a 14-day guarantee policy where if your product doesn't get there within 14 days, they give you back $5. I got the links to Temu in the description. If you decide to waste your money on some stuff, most of the things that you can find on Amazon, you can find cheaper on Temu. And you're guaranteed to get $5 back if you're not getting it from a local store. If you get it from a local warehouse, it's already in America and they're just going to ship it to you. But if you're getting it from overseas where they got to mail it to you, it's going to take 3 weeks to get it. And because it's going to take 3 weeks to get it, they're going to give you $5 for each item that you buy that is shipped individually, because it's not $5 back on your total purchase. It's $5 back on your shipment. So if you order 20 things that turns out to come from 20 different vendors, and all of those vendors are in China, each one of those shipping labels is going to give you $5 back if it spends an extra week in customs and takes 3 weeks to get to you. Think about that. So women that like to shop on Amazon and spend $2,000 a month of their man's money, you need to start, instead of wasting all that money for that extra $24 for Amazon Prime, ladies, y'all need to put more money in your own pocket, because if you use Temu, You can buy a bunch of stuff. It gonna come, and no, it don't matter how much the item was. It could be a $5 item. It could be a $50 item. If it take too long to get there, they're gonna give you $5. 10 items, $5. That's $50. Now you can buy something for free. And if the item that you bought for free take 3 weeks to get to you, you get another $5. If you're going to waste money responsibly. Now they got no minimum investment limit for IT-based industries when investments are made through the automatic route. Because they got a location where you guys, because they're mainstreaming through AI as well. So if you're using software, fintech, where some of these apps that we download, like Stash, and you put your money on the app, and then you buy the accessibility of authority to the shares from that app, then you can invest in what you're going to invest in, and then you can sell it for whatever its value is, and they'll refund you the money based off of what you sold it for, and then you would draw it off of the app, and that's your profit. They have additional benefits like loss carry forward up to 7 years. So if you have, and that's something that you don't always see in America, they have 100% tax deductions in the forefront. If you use 100% of the taxation, that's it. They do carry over some debt, but they don't carry over a lot of it. So if you have a lot of charge-offs this tax season, not all of them are carried over for the following year. But in Nepal, they have carry forwards for up to 7 years. So any type of financial loss that you could not write off last year, you could keep writing it off until it's eventually written off up to 7 years from the date of the loss. They have a full repatriation of profits and dividends. So full repatriation of profits and dividends allowed for foreign investors, bilateral treaties on avoidance of double taxation with some countries, because the U.S. is going to tax you. Most of these countries don't tax you if you're being taxed in another country. So you're not going to get taxed twice if you earn a profit. But if you don't claim it at the U.S. and you don't prove to them that you're getting taxed in the U.S., then they will tax you in Nepal. Foreign investors should know that to avail of these incentives, they must register with the Department of Industry and obtain necessary approvals and comply with reporting requirements. If you don't register, the incentives don't apply to you, but if you don't register, they're less likely to take money out of your pocket. Whatever they don't take from you before they release your money, they're not going to come after you for, because you're not registered there. Now, while these incentives aim to create an investor-friendly environment, their effectiveness may vary, and thorough research is advised before making investment decisions. So investors should be aware of potential risks, including political instability, natural disasters, and global economic fluctuations that could impact these sectors. However, with careful planning and risk management, Nepal's emerging economy presents numerous high-profit investment opportunities across these diverse sectors. Now, Nepal also offers a relatively low cost of living compared to many Western countries, enabling residents and expatriates to enjoy a luxurious lifestyle at an affordable price. So, looking at housing, you have rent, where a one-bedroom apartment in Kathmandu ranges from $150 to $400 per month, while outside the capital, it can be as low as $200 to $100 a month. Utilities are ranging typically from $30 to $50 a month. Food in local meals, where you're dining at a local restaurant, can cost between $1 to $3, while Western meals of the same caliber range between $5 and $15. Groceries, your monthly expenses are estimated at around $50 to $100 a month for an individual. Transportation, where buses and microbuses charge between 20 cents and 50 cents. Taxis within the city cost between $2 and $10. So outside of tipping, it is pretty cheap to get. That's cheaper than an Uber. Most of us know that an Uber is $20 one way most of the time. It's $20 one way most of the time. These people talking about $2 to $10. You got motorbike rentals where you can rent motorcycles that can cost between $50 and $150 per month to rent the motorcycle. The cheapest car insurance in America is not as cheap as renting a motorcycle in Nepal for the whole month. And there's also miscellaneous spending that you guys can do to up your ante. For example, internet. Your monthly internet cost is about $50 to $30 a month for mobile plans, ranging from $5 to $10 a month. Your gym memberships are typically $15 to $30 a month. And the luxurious lifestyle, despite affordability, you can understand that Nepal is increasingly catering to the luxurious travelers. So high-end lodges and bespoke travel experiences are on the rise, particularly in popular regions like Everest area and the Annapurna circuit. Annapurna circuit. Luxury tour operators often tailored iterators that can include exclusive experiences at prices that reflect the premium nature, such as stays that can reach up to $1,800 per person per night for high-end accommodations. So they can get up there in price depending on what you're looking for. So while Nepal presents a low-cost living environment conducive to comfortable lifestyles, it is also evolving into a destination for luxury tourism, appealing to affluent travelers seeking unique experiences at relatively low prices compared to developed nations. Now, Nepal's women are another story because we're going to love this, fellas, if you're from the Western culture. Nepalese women are recognized for their strong family values, warmth, and loving nature, playing a crucial role in maintaining family bonds. So they are going to be family oriented to their core. Their commitment to family is deeply rooted in cultural norms and practices that emphasize respect, loyalty, and collective well-being. Ladies, what men are looking for is respect, loyalty, and collective well-being, which means you are part of a team. You are not an independent individual. You are a self-sufficient individual until the team show up, and then you are a team player, taking licks for the team, going down with the team, ride and dine with the ship. Right? Now, I got some females like, oh, hell no, I ain't. But if somebody snatch your purse and you want me to go out there and plop, plop, if my tummy start rumbling, I want you to go up in there and burn some stuff down so that I can get me some yum-yums. Now, in Nepalese culture, we have that commitment to family, and women often prioritize their families above all else, which means, fuck this job. My man is not feeling well. I'm going home. Upon marriage, they typically assume multiple roles. Hello, ladies, including these of daughter-in-law, wife, and mother, where you are doing the stuff for the father-in-law and the mother-in-law as the daughter-in-law. You are doing stuff for the husband as the wife, and you're doing stuff for the kids as the mother. More responsibility. None of that got anything to do with getting a full-time job and going to work somewhere else. That is additional responsibility. All right. Now, the transition involves significant responsibilities such as the caregiving, cooking, managing the household tasks without expecting recognition or reward, which is what women consider oppressive, but it is highly rewarding when you ain't got to do nothing. Everything is yours. The house, the car, the yacht, the private jet in the back, tennis court next to the basketball court, next to the 100-yard lap pool. That type of lifestyle comes from you working with your partner to be financially successful. You either are going to be the breadwinner, or you're going to bring back most of the money and invest in this yourself as a primary investor of the shares of this company. Or you're going to put in a bunch of effort and not put no money up so that stuff can get done. you got to pay the cost to be the boss, and you got to pay for convenience. So if you don't have responsibility and you don't have any accountability, it's his responsibility because he's a man, and it's his accountability if the shit goes south. It is your obligation to do what he says, because in order for you to have the freedom from responsibility, you have to submit to his authority. Women don't want to do that, which means that you are going to have to put in 2-to-1 on the household and make sure that you are always the primary investor in the success of this relationship. Because if you are not, you are surrendering your reasonable accountability for being the primary decision maker, because you're not even primarily investing in the success of the relationship. Now, we have some cultural expectations, ladies. Women are expected to uphold family traditions and values, which include respecting elders, maintaining harmony, keep peace in your house, ladies, within the household. Now, this is Eastern expectations. I'm telling y'all in the Western culture that this is what men are looking for, and this is what men don't get, and this is why some men cheat. And y'all don't gotta like it. It's just the truth. Now, this often means adhering to strict social norms regarding behavior and lifestyle choices. So if he tell you don't wear that outfit, don't wear that outfit. You don't want to hear it. But if you do what needs to be done, guess what? You get the world at your feet. It's a fair exchange. He's going to break his back. He's going to break his spirit. He's going to break everything in his body so that you don't have to lift a finger in a heavy expectation outside of the little brat that won't sit his behind down. There is a trade-off. Now, we can flip the script, ladies, because in the Western culture, the ladies can do all the back breaking, shoveling dirt and digging ditches and cracking bricks and working on oil refineries and sending money back to the house for the stay-home dad that's watching the kids. We ain't got no problem with doing that. But because we don't have a problem with doing that, that's why women are saying that men are becoming too feminine, because the men have no problem with surrendering the masculine role to an overly masculine woman and taking on the feminine role so that he does not have to fight her for the masculine role. Because if she's not going to be willing to keep the peace in a relationship, he ain't got no problem with keeping the peace in a relationship. Because while women leave 70 to 90% of the time, 70% uneducated, 90% educated, the men don't leave. 10 to 30% of the time men leave, and they only leave because they don't like the way they're being treated, and they're being cheated on by her. Those are the only two reasons why men leave. Men don't leave when women are verbally abusive. Men don't leave when women are physically abusive. Men don't leave when the women steal from them. Men don't leave when the women are abusive at all. Men don't leave when the woman's family is abusive. They only leave when they are tired of how they're being treated, devalued, disgraced in society, where she's humiliating him in public and she cheating on him with some other dude. When he gets fed up, that's when he leave. But a woman can just walk out the door because she ain't satisfied with the situation the way it is, even if she has not contributed to the success of the situation. It just doesn't meet her expectations. She's not feeling it. She gone. Ladies, the men are flying to other countries because they're looking for women with these characteristics that are right there in Nepal. Before Nepal, Philippines was the one of the countries. Philippines, Vietnam, Japan, China, Cambodia are places where, Russia and Brazil, places where the women are really earning their keep. And then here in the United States, everybody's trying to be the most masculine one in the group. I keep telling ladies, instead of you gauging yourself based on what you look for in a man, gauge yourself based on what men look for in a woman. That will make you a better partner. In your life, you're going to make all the mistakes that men make, have a high body count, children, stretch marks, C-sections, bad credit, and you want the man to accept you for who you are now. If you make the conscious choice to find out what men want and change the things that you are capable of changing to meet his expectations, then you would be more suited as a partner after you retire out the game as a 304 or an OnlyFans girl. But if you don't want to change what you have become because you have set your standards and your expectations, You are not willing to meet his standards, but he must meet yours. That is when it is not uniform. That is when y'all start having trouble finding dudes. Because once men start realizing I'm paying for her to treat me like shit, I've got to treat her like a queen, but I'm treated like a peasant. Once they understand that, they're going to back out of the relationship and not be interested to go out on another date. That's going to mean that the dudes is only going to hook up with chicks, which means now you're going to find the men on a dating platform that are usually only looking for one night stands or friends with benefits. Because friends with benefits, I can sleep with you and not have to pay for you because we friends. Lack of responsibility, lack of accountability all the way around. But you can't look for lifetime companions at 35, 45, 55 years old, and you have not decided at that age that you're willing to be a partner now, that you part of the team now, that you're going to get in there and take some blows with us now. If that's not your mentality, you're not ready to date. You need to become a nun and just get out the dating game. Because eventually, everybody grow up, slow down. And when they do, they're going to be in that role, that position where they recognize that, damn, life didn't pass me by. I ain't got that physical condition that I used to. My drive ain't the way it used to be. You know, some of us hitting menopause. You know, we this stuff about we running out. But the difference is that men continue to increase in value because a man can continue to make money when a woman can no longer bear children. A man can continue to make money when a woman doesn't have the patience to deal with answering questions and fulfilling requests and fulfilling duties. A man can stop trying to make money because he's got enough money making money for him, where he's got plenty of money for him, you, the kids, the grandkids. But you cannot stop being a good wife. He can stop working and sit back, but it takes him 3/4 of his life to get there. 3/4 of his life. It doesn't matter how old you are right now. It took you 3/4 of your life to be as successful as you are right now. So if you ain't shit, you got a lot of way to go. Stick with us, like and subscribe. I'm going to tell you all kinds of ways that you could do stuff different, snail's pace. We're going to be coming together, coming soon, because the rumors are true. The three major credit agencies, TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, did get sued this year. Actually, I think it was Experian that had gotten sued a while back in 2017, but the lawsuit apparently still exists as an issue. But TransUnion and Experian being sued right now in January 7th. So if you're disputing your stuff, you're more likely to get your stuff taken off your credit score. And we're going to be trying to deal with that coming soon. I'll be able to tell you how it worked out, what happened, what was done, because everybody got stuff on their credit score. If you're not a millionaire, but you can clear up your credit this year. Right now, while the lawsuit pending, raise hell with 3 major credit bureaus and get some of that shit off your credit score. Boost your credit, improve your rental history, improve your debt to credit ratio so that you can qualify for more loans. You can qualify for lower interest rates. You can qualify for better housing. But you still got to be a partner after you finish making all those changes. And that's why I tell y'all need to like and subscribe and chill with the show every night of the week, because you're going to learn something different from us every night of the week. And you'll be able to take that and reincorporate it. But if you understand that you're going to sit on this podcast with me every night of the week and learn something different from me, you can also understand that your ass ain't a 10, because you would not be needing all of this information to better yourself if you didn't need to change and improve yourself. You would not need all of this information if you was in a situation where you had it under control already. But if you had it under control already, you'd be a millionaire. If your ass ain't making $100,000 a year, if you ain't got $200,000 of stock sitting in the bank account that you ain't got to spend money on or spend on paying bills or emergencies or nothing, you ain't ready. You ain't set. 20-year plan. I tell y'all, you got to do a 20-year plan, because you can't control how the future is going to lay itself out for you. You got to play the cards that's dealt to you after it's dealt. But you can come out with a long-term victory. Short-term failure, long-term victory. You can't win every battle in the war and expect to win the war. You have to make a tactical retreat, take some L's, and then get out there and win it over the long haul. That's what you got to do. But if you do that, You will be successful, men and women. But ladies, this is the thing though. Y'all alpha boss ladies, y'all are some of the most amazing women because y'all can do everything and give birth. The only stuff that a man can do that a woman can't do is lift heavier objects than she can because of his muscle mass. But the fact is that because y'all kill the children instead of giving birth to them, y'all like really everything that makes y'all awesome, y'all just like y'all devalue that, and then y'all promote being awesome because y'all do everything that the men do. That just makes you one of the guys, which doesn't make you the feminine woman that men are looking for. So if you're looking at alpha boss ladies, if y'all are going to be in the man's position, instead of y'all trying to find a man better than y'all, because the more successful you are, the less men in America that are more successful than you are. If you're making 50,000, there's about 40% of men that are making under 100,000. If you're making 50,000, there's probably only going to be 20% of men that are making more than you, less than 100,000. You start making more than 100,000, there's only 23% of men that make more than 100,000. So if you are making more than 100,000 or you're making 100,000, only 23% of men make more money than you. You start making closer to 150, 200,000 a year, only 7% of men make more money than you. And then when you start talking about 6'4" and all this other shit, only 1% of men at that height make more money than you. Because really and truly, sweetheart, believe it or not, most of the wealthy men are short. Think about this now. Genetics. It's not a stereotype. It's genetics. Tall people are attracted to short people. Law of attraction. Opposites attract. There's a genetic trait in everybody's lineage where somebody on either the mom's side of the family or the father's side of the family was tall. The recessive trait happened, and the shorter gene dominant. Somebody's mom is shorter than their dad, and the boy is shorter than the girl in the family. It's like that. You got some girls that are 6 feet. You got some boys that are 5'2". It's like that. But because women will excuse a man's height if he has more money, guess what? The shorter he is, the less attractive he is, the more money he got to have for those women to be hanging on his arm. So you're looking for a wealthy man. All the women is after him. That's because his ass is short. The tall man, more attractive, less requirement for financial resources because she'll take a little bit of a brokenness because he cute and good in bed. But he still got to be a breadwinner. He still got to bring that money in. So think about this stuff. And then also, ladies, put your 2 cents on this here. If y'all are financially successful and y'all are getting dudes, y'all are dating down now. And dating down is not dating a guy on your level, because what women consider dating down is when they don't elevate. And that's not dating down. You are only you're dating a man on your level when he is capable of doing for you what you are capable of doing for yourself. That is when he is on your level. If he elevates you, you're not on his level. Well, he's not on your level. You're on his level in that scenario. If he elevates you, if he improves your standard of living, he brought you up, which means that you and him wasn't on the same level. He was above you. Men are forced to date down. That's hypergamy. So, ladies, if y'all start dating down, y'all got more options, because there's like what I said, 70% of men is broke. That's less than 100,000 a year. 40% of men less than 50,000 a year. 30% of men that make more than 50,000 a year. So if you're making 50 and you're willing to date dudes between 50 and 20, you just added 20% more men to your selection. And what you do is you pay attention to their character instead of their wallet. Because if you don't need his money, money should not be a requirement to be your mate. Resources should not be a requirement to be your mate. Now you're just paying attention to his ability to be available, the effort he's willing to put into the relationship, and his tentativeness to see to it that your objectives are successful. Now, think about this for a second. That's feminine roles. That is 100% feminine, and that's why the men are feminine. That's exactly why the men are feminine. Because if I ain't got to pay for nothing, I'm going to cook, clean, take care of the kids. I ain't got to go to work nowhere. I'm taking care of all of the non-masculine roles. The masculine roles is getting shot, having to fight folks, arguing, lawsuits, pistol whipping people in the parking lot, car repair, negotiations, sales, all of that stuff. That's the masculine roles to make the house function. Truth. Ladies, y'all not going to believe this. You know that in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, one of the feminine roles was balancing the books. So the man would bring all his money back to his wife. She would make sure all the bills got paid because they didn't have online billing and all this shit back in the day. He was at work during business hours, or he was asleep because he was work overnight. While he's either asleep or at work, she would come and take care of the bills. And then after she come and take care of the bills, special shout out to Soul Law. He says something in a different language, so I can't really decipher it. But I appreciate you coming to the show. Sure, the bro key are from New Zealand. Special shout out to New Zealand. That part I understood. Special shout out to New Zealand. Key. So special shout out to Soul Law's brother Key from Actera, New Zealand. Special shout out to Key from Actera, New Zealand. I'm gonna put that up there. Special shout out to Key Ara from Ontario, New Zealand. And I appreciate you coming to the show. Make sure you like and subscribe as you pass through. But that's what I tell y'all. These things are like, they should be deal breakers, but they're not. And if y'all, since y'all are taking over the masculine role, instead of holding the man to masculine expectations while you stand in the same masculine role, if you say, I want to be the boss, let him be your subordinate. He got no responsibility. All he got to do is support your agenda the way men expect women to support her agenda. I guarantee you he would perform better in that role than the defiant mentality of the feminist model. Because only thing a man gonna be sitting over here thinking about doing, not the boys that's sitting on their Xbox not doing nothing. I'm talking about the man that wants to be financially successful. It's in his core. He's duty bound to be the protector and the provider, and his woman is being a provider. I'll go ahead and take what she's bringing and take my money and put it with her money and invest it into some stuff, open up a trust, and now we both got money. You flip the script on that, sweetheart. If a man gave you $10,000 right now, I know that you can think of all kind of shit to buy with that money, but not one woman that heard me say, if your man gave you $10,000 with no instructions, no woman, after they finished wilding out over what I just said, no woman said, nah, man, I'm going to go ahead and flip that and bring him back $11,000. I'm going to go ahead and flip that and bring back $12,000. That's 20% interest off the money he gave you. Ain't no woman going to say that. I'm going to buy this. I'm going to buy him that. I'm going to buy me this. I'm going to do this for my sister, my mama, my cousin, my home girl, my kids. You're going to spend the money. But if a man give you $10,000 and you don't invest it in $10,000 worth of stock that's paying close to 20% interest so that you could take that interest and go buy whatever the fuck you want with it, you fucking up. Because if you're getting 20% on $10,000, you're getting back $2,000, but the $10,000 is always there. You're going to keep spending the $2,000, but the $10,000 is always there. And every month, if you get monthly dividends, every month you spending the money, but every month the $10,000 is still there. If he gives you the $10,000 and you spend the $10,000, the $10,000 gone. He got to give you more money now. But if he gave you $10,000 and you invested it, now you got an allowance. He give you another $10,000, you invest that, now you got a bigger allowance. That money got to keep coming. This is what we say when we say that we need a woman of value. That's what we mean. Instead of you being selfish and taking care of yourself, you take care of us. Then I could quit my job. We both got money coming in, and now I can spend the rest of my life making you happy because you and I are successful. Not just you successful, not just I successful. Because any good man, like women put on their dating profiles, y'all need to go to y'all dating profiles after the show and delete this 2 phrases that you need to delete off of your profile. I know it's what you're thinking, but take it off your profile because it's fucking disrespectful. You're looking for a generous man. No, you're not, because that's gold digger mentality, because all good men are generous. And you like to travel. No, the fuck you don't. Your ass is broke. You can't afford $2,000 plane tickets all over the world. Take them 2 things out your damn profile, because if you got a good man, it go without saying that if you help him make enough money to fly you around the world, he gonna fly you around the world. If you help him make enough money to fly you around the world first class, he gonna fly you around the world first class. If you help him make enough money to take you out to fancy dinners and buy you expensive cars and buy you brand new iPhones for $2,000, if you help him make the money, he will buy that shit for you. And the more you help him, his gratitude for you being a helper will make him compelled to do more for you, because men are not used to women helping. So if you really had the smart, selfish mindset, the best gold digger is the best helper, because she gonna make him more money so that she get more money. Instead of just outright demanding, give me, and you ain't did nothing to deserve it. If you help him make more money, he gonna pay you more money. How you get bonuses on your job? You make more money for the company. You don't ask for more money for the company. You make more money for the company. Then the company say, well, shit, I might as well give so-and-so extra money. Because they make it every time they come to work, they put in extra money down. That's the incentive. The motivation to make the man more successful is so that the man will give you more money. So take generous out of your profile. Take travel out of your profile. Controlling, take that out of your profile too, because that means that your ass don't want to be told nothing. You want to be reckless with your life, spend all of his money, and then he got to play Captain Save-A-Ho and come and get you out of trouble. Take that out of your profile too. If you want him to take you shopping and buy you shit, when he tell you don't wear that, don't wear that. He'll get you whatever he want, but if he tell you don't wear that, don't wear that. There's a reason why. As much as there are good men out there, there are demons out there that are men. They're just the worst scum of the earth men out there. And since we know that, it is not safe for you to look sexy, overly sexualizing yourself, calling yourself cute, when this dirtbag been eyeballing you. I'm over here trying to cover you up with a coat so that he don't think nothing slick. You tell I ain't your daddy and you don't want me to cover you up with the bro. I tell y'all every week, Donald Trump is like $4.5 billion or something to that effect. Elon Musk is a billionaire. These men got security guards that tell them where to go, when to shut up. And y'all can't follow instructions, but for minimum wage, your boss will tell you what to clean, what to pick up, what to carry. Come in on your day off. Help me run the business for minimum wage. But you won't help your husband run the house so that y'all can be a millionaire family. If y'all ladies don't start following Michelle Obama, she was the perfect image of how women are supposed to behave. And I'm gonna explain this again, because when we did our social justice, so we talked about this, and one of the men took it a whole nother direction, trying to get on a law topic. Michelle Obama was in social justice because she made her husband the president of the United States. Now, as the first lady, she on the top of the ladder of the social justice workforce. Any changes that she would have had to spend 20 years of her life working her way up the company ladder to change, she spent 9 months making her husband successful so she can make those changes within the first 4 years of her husband being the president. Now, when she's the former president's wife, but all the changes that she made sure got done while she was the first lady, when she goes back down the ladder, all the stuff that she wanted done got done because she made her man successful first. Instead of being selfish, you put the team first, and then the whole team succeed because you part of the team. That's what I tell y'all. I ain't sitting over here like these red pills talking about women belong under the men. Nah. But y'all belong as a partner. Y'all supposed to be a team. And if y'all not part of the team, y'all part of the problem. One crew. You're either with us or against us. That's it. So when we're looking at these gender roles, despite the pivotal roles in the family, Nepalese women often encounter challenges due to patriarchal structures that limit their autonomy. So in many cases, decision-making power within households remains predominantly with the male members, and newly married women may find themselves at the bottom of the household hierarchy because the sons, then the husband, then the father-in-law, and your father, and your brother, and your brother's sons facing restrictions on their freedom of choice. Now, women in America are fighting. They're not even fighting for freedom of choice because y'all already have freedom of choice with the First Amendment. Y'all just fighting for freedom for irresponsibility. Because if you're not held accountable for nothing, when the shit gets too difficult, it's a man's job to come and fix it. But first person accountability, had you not done that stupid shit, you wouldn't be in that fucked up ass problem. Right or wrong? Right or wrong? Nah, I ain't trying to tell you that y'all don't deserve to have the rights that everybody else, but I get punched in the face, black eyes, bloody nose, hospital bills, broken bones to protect you. You just have to stand there and look cute. I get jumped because the shit went down and you was involved in it. I didn't have to say nothing, but because I stood up for you, now I'm gonna get my ass whooped for you. Now, ladies, let's be honest now. Flip the script now. How would you feel about getting your ass whooped for your man and your man tell you what to do all the damn time? You ain't got no saying nothing. I'm going to be real with you. Some females is going to be like, hell to the nah. One, he's supposed to be the fighter. And two, he not telling me nothing. So if you notice, flipping the script back, why are you not going to listen to him? He's telling you it's not safe. Don't wear that. He's telling you be quiet. He's telling you sit down. He's not bullying you. In order for him to keep you safe, he's got to get you out of the way where he know where you at. He going to be your shield, and he going to fight that fight in a way where you are always behind him, where don't nobody get past him to get to you. But he can't fight the fight if he looking for you. He getting blindsided because he looking for you and an attacker on the other side of him. If he's fighting with you, he can't protect you because while you over here beating his ass in public, making him look bad, when you finish with him, this other dude going to beat his ass because he stood up for you. Because any man that is a bully might not hit the woman, but they will hit her boyfriend because she says something stupid. Special shout out to John. Special shout out to, who is this? Tai Pa. We got a lot of Nepal coming up in here. Special shout out to y'all. John says women can't do the same thing as men. Simple as that. Well, you right, because we're not gonna. If it's about to go down, I'm not sitting over here running my mouth. I'm not arguing with you. What you want to do? What you want to do? No, I'm sitting over here counting. If it's going down in a rough way, how many mags I got left? If it's going down in a streets way, pick up a brick and bust you in the head. I'm not just looking for the assault. I'm looking for the exit strategy, because after I finish doing to you what I'm about to do to you, I'm trying to run so that don't nobody catch me in the act. How many cameras are in the area? That's the stuff I'm thinking. I'm not sitting over here running my mouth with you. People think that a man that is being talked shit to that don't respond is cowardly, because these youngins don't know no better. The silent one is the dangerous one, because the silent one is calculating all the ways that he gonna mess your ass up when he do make a move, while making sure exit strategies, try not to get himself caught on video so that he don't get identified by the police. All of this stuff is gonna go down. Then when a man snap on you, because you won't let it go, when a man snap on you, that's when you're in a compromising situation. You ain't had time to think about how you're gonna protect yourself from this onslaught because you were so busy trying to think of slick shit to say out your mouth so that the crowd could stay laughing and hyped up. If you start really analyzing your situation, you might recognize that the person that you're talking shit to got 3-4 dudes stood up when he stood up. You might want to rethink your position. All I'm saying. A lot of times we've got to remember that there's a time and a place for everything. And you got to know when it is not the time and it is not the place. And if women knew that, a lot of the times they would not feel disrespected when a man tell them to sit down and shut up, because just like Michelle Obama, she did not talk when it was not appropriate. And she never said nothing that was inappropriate. She never disrespected her husband. She never did a press conference to disrespect her husband. Hillary Clinton, her husband cheated on her. She never did a press conference and disrespected her husband. Donald Trump, he cheated on his wife. His wife never did a press conference and disrespected him. But let your man not have money to pay for the Cheesecake Factory. You then went viral talking about how your man ain't shit. Now y'all got to have more value in your man. That's what we saying. That's what we saying. At the bottom 99%, if y'all look at how the top 1% treat each other and start mimicking that shit, you will find yourself in a more fruitful scenario. It's all about mutual respect. Instead of talking shit to one another and making threats, let's make a deal where we can both make money. Now we're both less frustrated because we got a little extra cash in our pocket. Try that shit sometime. Now, women frequently navigate social expectations that dictate their roles within the family. And this includes pressures related to marriage arrangements and child rearing practices, where producing male heirs is often prioritized. That's not going to mean that they're going to get rid of the girls. It just means that you're going to have a higher responsibility to make sure that you keep having children till some boys come out. Now, we're going to have, as more women are pursuing education and entering the workforce, they contribute significantly to their family's financials while also introducing new cultural perspectives. But educated women tend to advocate for gender equity both at home and in society. So in some regions of Nepal, women band together to support one another, creating networks that empower them economically and socially the same way the Western culture does. And this collective effort fosters a sense of community and resilience against traditional constraints, where they no longer are performing those traditional feminine roles that makes them partners to the men, where unlike the women in Western culture, Nepalese women embody strong family values and nurturing qualities, where they also face systemic challenges that can hinder their empowerment. However, ongoing changes in education and social attitudes are gradually reshaping the roles within both families and society at large. So, Nepal, in all its glory, is a country that is full of surprises, full of charm, and full of heart. From its stunning landscapes to its rich culture, and from its hidden wonders to its breathtaking experiences, Nepal is a travel destination that has something for everyone. Nepal offers a unique opportunity for those seeking high profit investments, affordable luxury living, and a family-oriented society. With its stunning landscapes, the rich cultural heritage, and welcoming people, Nepal is an ideal destination for those looking to create a fulfilling and prosperous life. I really want to appreciate you guys for coming to tonight's show. Make sure that you guys like and subscribe. And if you guys have any trips that you've ever taken to Nepal or other countries, and you guys want to share your stories, make sure that you drop those in the comments down below. You can also message me after the show on any topics in any countries that you'd like to know about. Apparently, New Zealand, I'm going to have to talk about you guys. So we've got Thailand, we've got Egypt, and now we've got New Zealand. So as y'all throw a shout out for y'all country, I got y'all. We're going to talk about the awesome stuff about y'all country on this and that at least once a week. So at least once a week, we're going to be talking about the progress of the Trump administration. And at least once a week, we're going to be talking about a different country that you can invest in, live good in, have good culture in, have fun in, travel to as a business expense, having money make money for you. We're going to be going all over the place with this. Now, make sure that you guys inspire each other to plan a trip to one of these countries that we're going to be talking about. And don't forget to make sure that you join tomorrow night's show, where I am not sure exactly what we're going to be talking about tomorrow, because I know that we had pushed the topic for Saturday for us to talk about the single father situation. So stay tuned, because we got a show coming up every night of the week. If I haven't scheduled it yet, I will schedule it after the show. I usually try to do a little bit of research to make sure that I come to terms with valid, reasonable topics that we can discuss, because I don't want to waste you guys' time. And I always come informed. I always do my research before I come to the show. So I always want to see you guys in the show, learning and growing with us. So with that being said, I want to make sure that you guys enjoyed your topic with Nepal. Also, make sure that you guys like and subscribe, and make note that when the situation comes about that you guys are looking for avid success, you guys are coming to this and that. Special shout out to Red Void from Twitch, Mr. Pibbs, Liberty Twitcher, Omni81. I see you guys. Special shout out for Twitch. Special shout out for Twitter. You guys make it do what it do. I really appreciate you guys coming to the show. Definitely, ladies, as we sign out of the show, one of the things I want to tell you guys, because I also really enjoy the ability to have you guys keep coming back and learning something from us. So I want you guys to make note that what the heck happened there? We're gonna fix that situation there. That as long as a situation doesn't make sense, ladies, I'm gonna keep asking y'all to make it make sense. So, ladies, definitely, I ask y'all to make it make sense. In addition to that, I want to say I appreciate you guys for coming to the show. I'm gonna try to find time out of my week to expand on the list of fans that we got coming up to the show on a regular basis, especially the ones that's coming every day. We really appreciate y'all, because y'all make us what we are on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. We got about 69% of the population. Well, 69% of the podcast is dudes. So I still really appreciate you fellas for coming to the show and making it what it is on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. I really appreciate that. So I'm going to tell you guys, thank you for coming to this and that. I'm your host, Xander, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. Stay tuned for Higher Ground, which is the theme song for the show made by alanito.music from Switzerland. So special shout out to Switzerland. We need to do something about Switzerland coming soon as well. I really appreciate you guys for coming to tonight's show. We're going to see you tomorrow night around 10:30 Central Time, which is 11:30 Eastern Time, which is approximately like 7:30 on California time. And if you are in the Green Minutes time or Universal Standard Time for those on the eastern side of the world, that is about 4:30 a.m. for those guys that are in the Eastern culture. And again, 10:30 for those in the Western culture. Thank you guys again for coming to This and That. Again, I am your host, Xander, for This and That. And again, I will see you where we talk about this, that, and everything in between tomorrow night.
Higher ground. Used to chase validation, now I validate My network is my net worth. Choose your company wise. Surround yourself with eagles, not with sheep in disguise. Every interaction is a reflection of my brand. Quality over quantity, that's my personal command. I'm not mounted on higher ground where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds, raising the bar, breaking ground. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield to mediocrity and chaos. I will never I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield to mediocrity and chaos. I will never yield.